On this trip, we're starting in my home state of Maryland and making our way up the East Coast to Bar Harbor, Maine. Along the way, we're going to hit up some iconic spots as well as some hidden gems, explore the major cities, and take advantage of the scenic East Coast as much as we can. As always, there'll be a ton of cooking as I travel. This is the New England trip. I will say, mine does look pretty good. Cheers. 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 That is so unfortunate. So we have made it. We're finally back on the road after being at home for a few weeks. Last night I hung out with my girlfriend and got some dinner, said goodbye. And this morning we hit the road north. I don't even know exactly really where I am. I'm like 20 minutes north of Baltimore in this Home Depot parking lot next to the shed. And I'm finally heading out to explore the last area, the final frontier on the Ryan Toomey Vanlife adventure. The only place left in the country that I haven't traveled to, and that is New England and the entirety of the northeastern section of the United States. So going on a 10 to 15 day road trip up there, checking out a bunch of cool places. It should be peak fall colors, so really excited about that. But with that being said, we are driving north and winter is coming. So if you've been following along, you know that my diesel heater, the thing that I use, that's actually down here in my van that keeps me nice and warm in the winter time, broke and completely fell apart on my road trip up to Alaska. And the fuel line got wrapped around my wheel, completely ripped out, basically destroyed the entire thing. So I've got some new spare parts here to fix that, which is why I'm in a Home Depot parking lot, because I left all my tools in my house in San Diego, so I don't have any. I drove all the way up to the Arctic Circle and then back down to California, across the country to Maryland, and up to here with my fuel pump dangling like that, so hopefully it still works. And even though I did order all of the parts, I forgot to order one, which is the fuel filter. So gonna head into Home Depot, see if I can find the fuel filter, and then tonight we are driving up to Philadelphia to stealth camp on the streets. So this is the third time that I'm gonna be replacing the fuel filter in my diesel heater. For the first time that I've had to replace all the lines and everything like that. I have had issues with fuel filters in the past, the ones that you can buy on Amazon that are specifically meant for diesel heaters, which I'll go show you outside. I installed this auxiliary diesel tank for the diesel fuel for the diesel heaters to keep it out of the car, just kind of in this corner of my engine bay. And this is the tubing that is supposed to be connected to my diesel heater, but as you can see, the old fuel filter, I've had this happen twice where they've just exploded and diesel has leaked all over into my engine bay. Luckily, it hasn't caused any issues, at least that I know of. I've tried to clean it out every time it's happened, but I'm hoping this upgraded filter will be able to withstand. I'm assuming it's the heat that makes this explode, and we should have a good diesel heater all winter, so let's get to fixing. So basically all I'm doing is I attached a new gasket, some new clamps, and then this is the hose that the fuel will go through, down through my engine bay to my diesel heater. And then once I get these tightened down, I'm gonna splice this somewhere, attach in the fuel filter, and then we just got a few things that I gotta install under the van next to the diesel heater, and we should be good to go. And we finally have a working diesel heater, hopefully. Not gonna test it today because it's still pretty warm and I don't feel like dealing with the mishap if I mess something up and having diesel leak everywhere. So that'll be a problem for another day, but let's hit the road, get to Philly because we're already running late. So we have made it into the city, and one of the things that I'm really excited to try now that I'm here in the city is a Philly cheesesteak, because I think the last time I had an authentic Philly cheesesteak in Philly was like 10-15 years ago when I was a kid, and I feel like you can't come visit Philly without trying a cheesesteak, and you also can't talk about Philly cheesesteaks without talking about Gino's Steakhouse and Pat's, the king of steaks, and supposedly the original Philly cheesesteak. And funny thing is, they're actually right next to each other. You've got Pat's right over here on this side of the street, and Gino's on this side of the street. And by no means am I trying to say that these are the best cheesesteaks that you can get in Philly. I actually did a lot of research and found that it's a very polarizing topic to figure out which is the best cheesesteak in Philly. And for locals, neither of these places are the best cheesesteak, and they're kind of touristy, but they are the most popular. So we're gonna get one from each of them, try them, and then I actually did an Instagram poll as well where I asked people what the best cheesesteak is from locals. And after we try these two, we're gonna go to that place, try that cheesesteak, and see which one's the best, hopefully. We got our Gino's cheesesteak, we got our Pat's cheesesteak. I asked them both what they think makes a Philly cheesesteak special. What makes them so special?
Say the bread.
Gino's said it's the bread. Pat's said that it's just because they're the originator of the cheesesteak and it's just because it's from Philly.
It was invented here. We're the originator of the cheesesteak.
Okay.
It all started here.
So no real insights on that. I'm trying to gather as much intel as I can because when we go stealth camping tonight somewhere on the street, I'm going to try to make my own version of a Philly cheesesteak. And from my understanding, what I thought made a Philly cheesesteak different than other cheesesteaks is the fact that they use cheese whiz. So it's not like American cheese or provolone, it's like easy cheese kind of stuff out of a bottle. So I thought that's what made them different, but maybe I was wrong. Anyways, let's give them a try. I got both the same Philly cheesesteak with onions. Up first is Pat's, which is supposedly the original Philly cheesesteak and the inventor of it. So, cheers. Got a lot of bread in that first bite. Very good steak. And honestly, I do like the cheese whiz because it like spreads out evenly throughout the entire cheesesteak as opposed to like American cheese that would just be on top or something. So, very good. Now, we can move on to Gino's. So cheers. Gino says bread is what makes Philly cheesesteak, so we'll see. I'm gonna be honest, it is pretty hard to differentiate between the taste on the two. They taste very identical. This Gino's cheesesteak does have, in my opinion, way better bread. But overall, the insides of both cheesesteaks, very similar taste. If you fed both of them to me in a blind taste test, I don't think I could tell you the difference other than the bread on this one. If you're coming to Philly and you're going to either Gino's or Pat's, I'm gonna be honest, I gotta give this one to Gino's just because of the bread. Overall, the sandwich was a lot better. But let's head over to our final cheesesteak spot. And this is it, Angelo's Pizzeria. This is the place that got recommended more than anywhere else in my Instagram poll. We're here now, and we're gonna try it. Last cheesesteak secured. There's really nowhere to sit and eat them out there, so we'll take it back to the van, eat this last one, and it's very interesting that every place that we've gone to that's given me an opinion on what makes a Philly cheesesteak so special have all said the bread.
The bread, like
bread?
our bread made.
That's what we got, yeah.
Sandwich.
So if you had to pick one thing, it'd be the bread?
100%.
Okay. I would have thought it would have been the cheese or the steak or something else, but it's very interesting that it was the bread. Alrighty. So I've got high hopes for this one. Let's see how good you guys are at choosing best cheesesteak in Philly. Ooh, first difference. Seeded bun. Step up from the last two places. This bread looks way better than both the other two places, which apparently is what makes these cheesesteaks so special, so very excited. They also used a different kind of cheese. So the cheese in this one is called Cooper Sharp cheese, which is another kind of Philly staple. So it's either whiz or it's Cooper Sharp cheese that you're gonna find in these Philly cheesesteaks. So definitely the most aesthetic of the three that I've had so far. Cheers. That bread is fantastic. By far, the best bread out of all three of the sandwiches. And I think she said they make it in-house. I think this might be my favorite one so far. I will say, I do think I like the cheese whiz better though. I think overall, this cheesesteak was better than the first two I had, bread-wise, but cheese and steak-wise, I think Gino's and Pat's has this beat. So it's kind of hard to pick a favorite because like each one has their own thing that they shine in, which I guess is why it's such a debate here in Philly for which one's the best cheesesteak. So I think I've gathered enough intel to be able to cook one tonight in the back of the van. But first, before we do that, now that I am packed full of cheese, steak, and bread, I'm gonna drive into Center City to the Reading Terminal Market to get all of the local Philly ingredients for my Philly cheesesteak, and also check out some more of the city before I park up on the side of the road here somewhere and stealth camp for the night. So this place that we're heading to, the Reading Terminal Market, is a place that I read about online, and it's supposed to be pretty cool. It's America's largest public market. So I'm hoping I can get all the ingredients I need for my Philly cheesesteak there. But if not, we'll just have to stop somewhere else and grab whatever else we can't get here. This is it. hopefully we can find everything we need. This place is pretty cool. Got a bunch of little meat markets and restaurants and places you can go to. First thing I'm looking for is bread though, because apparently that's the most important part of cheesesteak, so I want to make sure we get some good bread. All right, I've been walking around for like 20 minutes looking for anywhere that sells bread, and we finally found somewhere. Hopefully they have some sort of hoagie roll. Thank you. Appreciate it. Bread acquired. And next I gotta get some cheese, and we do have a lot of selection here, but sadly no cheese whiz, so I think my cheesesteak is going to be made with the Cooper sharp cheese, which is what Angelo's made their cheesesteaks with. I'm fine, thank you very much. Have a good one. All right, so cheese and bread acquired. Now all we need is steak, and then I need to grab an onion. All right, so I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit overstimulating being in there. So much stuff going on, so many options, but we've got everything we need to make a cheesesteak. I got a few more ingredients that I'm gonna add to my cheesesteak that I kind of like, but for now, we gotta head back to the van and then drive around the city looking for a place to stealth camp tonight. Whew. Long day. So I haven't really planned out exactly where I'm gonna be stealth camping tonight, but from driving around the city all day, I've kind of realized that there is a ton of street parking everywhere, so I might just drive around down random Philly city streets and find somewhere where I can stay for the night. I will say I've never been to another city that has as narrow streets as Philadelphia does. I hate driving around in cities, it's so stressful, especially with a van like this in these older cities that aren't really meant for bigger vehicles. All right, so I've been driving around for like 30, 45 minutes looking for a place. I haven't found anywhere that looks perfect, but this spot right here honestly looks good enough. Right next to some apartments, just kind of off to the side of the street here, so I think this is where we're gonna camp tonight. No sign saying there's any kind of regulations for whether I can stay here overnight, so I feel like this place is as good as any. So I don't think this spot is like the most perfect spot if you were looking for somewhere to stealth camp in a city, but I definitely drove by some worse options. So there's some nice apartments off on that side. This looks like it's some sort of vacant lot. More apartments over there, and then nice just looking apartments, and seems like it's generally a pretty quiet street. Not a lot of restaurants or foot traffic, so this is going to be our home tonight here in Philadelphia. Now that we found a place to camp for the night, we can get started cooking that Philly cheesesteak. And finding spots like this kind of in the city like I did in Baltimore, or I did here tonight in Philly, or I'm going to do in many other cities as I travel up the East Coast, it's typically pretty easy to find a spot to camp. It's just about finding the right spot, and typically I like to get there before nighttime just so I can get a lay of the land, see where I'm at, and at least feel somewhat good about where I'm camping. But this spot here on the street isn't too bad. It looks like the car in front of me left. We're not really right in front of someone's house because this is an empty lot, but we are kind of close, so definitely won't be cooking with the doors open tonight, or doing anything with the doors open, or any of my windows. Make sure those are sealed, especially since the sun is setting. But I will say that although winter hasn't fully hit yet, it is pretty nice to have a decent temperature in the back of the van constantly throughout the day and night, and not having to be scorching hot while I'm back here cooking. And hopefully once it gets super cold, when winter really hits, that diesel heat will be working again. I think after I make this Philly cheesesteak, I might be all Philly cheesesteaked out for the entire year. This will be my 4th in one day, but mine is gonna be a little bit different than the ones I got, because when I ordered the Philly cheesesteaks, I wanted something that the restaurants recommended, which for all 3 of the restaurants was just steak, cheese, onions, and bread. But typically, I like lettuce, tomatoes, onion, ketchup, and mayonnaise on mine, so that's what we're gonna add. From what I've read online, Cooper Sharp is a Philadelphia-based cheese that essentially is just an upgraded version of Kraft Singles, AKA American cheese. But first things first, prep some ingredients. First time using my new fancy knife to cook something in the van. Whoa. This thing is so beautiful. And there we go. We got our trifecta of veggies all cut up. Now it's time to move on to the meat. And I'm not really following any kind of recipe here. It seemed pretty simple and straightforward for how they made all their cheesesteaks. It was just steak mixed with cheese and onions in a roll. So I'm just gonna do my best to get this steak sliced nice and thin. I hope that this cheesesteak comes out somewhat respectable. I'm gonna have to cut this super duper thin, because I think that's what really makes a cheesesteak so good, is how thin the meat is cut. There we go. Took a lot longer than I thought it would. Also, remembered that I have my apron, saved my pants, so I put that on so I don't keep wiping my hands on my pants. But steak is cut up all nice and thin, and I think that's it for what we gotta do for prep. So let's get to cooking. Should wash the hands. So while I was at the market, I got these steak rolls, since apparently what makes a cheesesteak from Philadelphia is the roll. So I got a Philadelphia cheesesteak style roll that we're gonna use, but we're gonna upgrade it a little bit because I feel like it'd be pretty good. But this should fit in there, yeah. So what I'm gonna do to upgrade this is essentially take it, cut it right down the middle, like so. Pry that open, and then in the pan here, I'm gonna start getting some butter and garlic heated up, and we're gonna turn this roll into basically a garlic bread roll. Get that melting, as well as some garlic. Beautiful. Now that that is nice and melted, go ahead and throw this bread in there and get her nice and toasted up. Ooh! Oh, that smells so good. There we go, bread done. Now it's time, move on to the steak. Get a little bit of oil in the pan, let that get hot. And for some reason, most of the videos that I've seen are people that have been cooking cheesesteaks haven't used any seasoning on the steak, which I don't really understand. I feel like the seasoning can only really improve the flavor. So for my cheesesteak, I will be using some garlic powder, onion powder, and some salt. But I think this pan is hot. Go ahead and throw them in there. And then I hit them with the seasoning. I think that steak is cooked just enough. Over here, grab some of my cheese. And I like a lot of cheese, so I'm going to put a lot on here. So don't judge me. Turn the heat down a little bit. There we go. I'm also going to take actually a couple slices of cheese and line the toast with it. Make sure every square inch of this cheesesteak has cheese on it. That looks so good. There we go. I think that's good on the steak. And I really don't know why I don't make these more. They're actually super, super simple to make. Not a lot of ingredients. Pretty much everything that I love in a sandwich. Cheese, bread. But I'm gonna try to layer this in there. Get some meat, some tomatoes, some lettuce, and more meat. And there we go. That is our wonderful looking cheesesteak. It looks kind of a mess right now, but I think I may have overpacked it. Ooh, this looks so good. And I think this is kind of the reason why it's such a heated debate as to where the best Philly cheesesteak in Philly is, because it's so much up to personal preference, what you like in your cheesesteak, what you don't like. And I think at the end of the day, every place has something that they do extraordinarily well, and I don't really think any one of them can really say that they're the best overall cheesesteak. But I will say, mine does look pretty good. Cheers. Oh, I think I actually I've made a mistake saying I like the Cheese Whiz better than the Cooper Sharp, because I think the problem for me with the one from Angelo's wasn't that the cheese wasn't better, it was that it wasn't enough, and I probably should have gotten extra cheese, which I think would have made it perfect, but I did forget to add some ketchup and mayonnaise, and this is just a personal preference. I know a lot of people don't like ketchup and mayonnaise on their cheesesteaks, but I do, so sue me. There we go. Gorgeous. That is a spectacular cheesesteak. And it feels weird being back in the van again full time after being home for so long. Feels like I haven't been on the road in forever. I am excited to be back. I think for the rest of the night here tonight, it is getting kind of late, 7:30. Finish up this cheesesteak, hang out, and try to plan the rest of my route up north. So I will catch you guys in the morning. Morning. Last night was definitely not the best night's sleep I've ever gotten. It felt like I was in Gotham City a little bit. Just absolute lawlessness on the streets with people riding around on dirt bikes and four-wheelers and those little three-wheel cars blasting music. At one point I even pulled down my back window to look out, and I saw a bunch of people in a Ford Excursion hanging out the windows driving through this intersection at about 40 miles an hour. So it's a little bit worried I was gonna get hit. Kind of died down around 12:30-ish, but it's time to get up, get out of Philly. Going. Can I also get a pack of those lemon heads up there? Can I get a pack of those lemon heads? Have a good one. Oof. Beautiful day out today. There's a little bodega around the corner from where my stealth camping spot is, and if you guys have watched my last video, you'll recognize where I'm currently camped out on the streets in Philly. Stealth camping here on the side of the road. And after I made breakfast, I figured, why not film another video today? But I went over to the bodega over there, got some lemon heads, because I haven't seen them in forever, and I used to love them. I used to get them from the neighborhood ice cream man, but I never see them anywhere anymore. They're so good. So I got one of those in a seltzer water. But I don't think I want to stay here again at my stealth camping spot here on the streets in Philly, because it's about to be the weekend, and cities get a little bit rowdier on the weekends. So I'd rather head out. My plan initially was going to be to go to New York, but I also don't really want to be in New York City on the weekend. So I think I might drive out more west into the country and not in the city, and just see what I can get into. I honestly have no plan for today. Don't know what I'm doing. Feel like I haven't done a video like this in a while, where I kind of just take you guys along on a day of living in the van. So that's what we're doing. But first, we got to get up and out of Philly. So I think before I try to figure out what I'm doing for the night tonight, I'm going to drive out of the city and then get myself a plan together, figure out where I'm going. So we made it to a Love gas station here in New Jersey, and I forgot, for some reason in this state, you can't pump your own gas. So we gotta wait for the guy to come over and help us. How's it going? Thank you. Which I guess is kind of nice, but I mean, in a way it kind of takes longer. I wish I could fill up my own gas. I wonder what the reasoning behind that is. I've actually never looked it up, why I can't fill my own gas in New Jersey, but I wanted to get out of the city before rush hour, and I didn't really have a destination, so I just put a pin down on the highway and drove until I found a rest stop, truck stop to pull over at, which is where we're currently at, because I need to figure out where I'm going and what I'm doing tonight and where I want to park my house. So, thank you very much. Have a good one. Good day. And this is kind of the thing that sucks about van life and living in a van on the East Coast, is there's just not as many options for places to camp and things to do and being able to go out in the wilderness and stuff like that. And 90% of your time is spent at places like this, either getting gas, camping, and or planning where you're gonna camp tonight, because it takes a lot more planning when you're on the East Coast than it does on the West Coast, just because of the lack of BLM land and places that are free to camp. Thank you very much. I'm fine, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day and safe travels.
You as well. Got myself an apple, some spicy pickles. I've never had the spicy ones. I hope they're not too spicy. I usually get the regular ones. It's kind of hard to eat healthier when you're shopping at a gas station, but then again, I did have 4 Philly cheesesteaks yesterday, so I guess it doesn't really matter. The only thing with these sandwiches you can get from the gas station is there's never sauce on them, which I guess makes sense, but it is a good thing I have my own. So now we got to figure out what we're doing for today. Oh, this is the driest sandwich I've ever had in my life. It's so not good. Wow. Oh my God, I just realized these military trucks in front of me must have locked their keys out of their Humvee because they called the fire department. They just came over with one of those things to like fish down the window to get it open. That sucks. It's gotta be hard to get one of those if you don't have the key. Although I am curious as to why they sent the fire department to come get them out, not like a locksmith. Anyways, let's figure out where we're going, what we're doing, and what direction we're heading to for this afternoon. Doing stuff like this is easily 40-50% of your time, trying to figure out where you're going next, where you can camp, where you want to camp. I've been searching for like 10 minutes and I did. First review says, I'm guessing some sort of hunter posted this because it is in a multi-use area. No normies allowed. If I catch you here in your 100K Sprinter van or your Dodge ProMaster with butcher block counters, I'm slashing your tires. So, gotta love the East Coast. I don't know if we're gonna be able to camp out in the wilderness, and it looks like the military guys got in their truck. They got their door open. Fire department just left. All right, I just searched for probably 30, 45 minutes, wasted a bunch of time. Couldn't find anywhere that I really liked, that I wanted to stay, so sometimes that's just the name of the game. So I think I'm gonna use today just to get more north. I'm driving past New York now into Connecticut, and then I'm gonna hit New York City on the way back. I just don't feel like doing another city tonight or within the next 2 days, so we're passing it for now, but we will hit it on the way back, I promise. And genuinely, every time I drive up north in this van, I get scared because so many of these roads up here that are labeled as parkways that a normal car can drive on, a truck can't, because there's such low height restrictions on some of these bridges that you have to drive under when you get off on those parkways. And some of them are like 6-7 feet, so like even my van can't fit under them. So I have to constantly be paying attention and make sure I'm not driving down a road with a tunnel that my van can't fit through, so it gets a little bit stressful. And you guys might be surprised to find out that I actually don't have an easy pass, and I have lived in Maryland my entire life. So we gotta stop and get a ticket. And we're gonna find out how much the Jersey Turnpike is nowadays. And if you're unfamiliar with how the Turnpike works, you pick up a ticket that has a bunch of different options for exits on it, and then wherever you exit kind of determines how much you owe. And I have no idea what my GPS wants me to do here. Why is it telling me to get off the highway, loop around 80 times, and then get back on the highway? That makes no sense. I will be continuing straight. Hopefully it fixes itself. There we go. I don't know why I was trying to get me to do that. So much traffic. I left at probably the worst possible time to be driving through New York City. Friday afternoon at 4 p.m. It's gonna take me another 2.5 hours to go my last 40 miles. Gotta love New York. All right, it's time to see how much it costs. How's it going?
Good.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
14 bucks. A little pricey, but I guess it could have been worse. We are pulling up on New York now. You can kind of see it just out the window over there. My GPS keeps trying to reroute me to parkways to save time, but my dad told me, because he drove a tall vehicle up here once, and every time I've driven here I've thought about it, to avoid any road that says parkway, because that's where all those low bridges are and that kind of stuff. And my dad, when he was driving his truck up here, he drove down one of those parkways and had to stop and pull over on the side of the road and call the police to help him get out, and that's what they told him. So that's what we're doing, and we're staying on this road and we're going over the GW Bridge, even though my GPS keeps trying to reroute me. All right, we have finally made it to our exit. I have been sitting in non-stop traffic for the last 2 hours from New York all the way up to here. It has been 100% traffic with almost no breaks, so I'm very happy to finally be getting off the highway and making it to our campsite for the night. And this is it. I don't know if you can see anything with that sun glaring into the windshield like that, but we're just at a travel center. Or on the East Coast, they're actually called service centers. And this is actually the Connecticut Welcome Service Area. And this parking lot right here is where we're calling home for the night. Woo! Beautiful sunset out. That's nice. And I love traveling in the van in October and in the spring. The weather is perfect. It's gonna be so nice sleeping tonight. It's like an airport in here. I was really hoping they were gonna have showers here because I definitely need one, but sadly they don't, so might just have to take a head shower in the van. I also have so many fun looking vending machines in here. I might have to come back in here and try one. So it's been like 2 days without a shower, so I don't necessarily need one. It would just feel good to have one. But sadly, this truck stop does not have any, so just have to settle for a quick head shower. Really should have done my dishes this morning. I also do think I'm running very, very low on water. So I'm not even sure I'm gonna have enough water to actually take a head shower, but I know I'll definitely need to fill up my tank again tomorrow. It's not the most luxurious experience ever doing a shower in the sink, but it does leave you feeling a lot cleaner, especially when you have longer hair. I hope I have enough to rinse this out. There we go. Feel a lot better, and I might take a baby wipe shower later tonight, but I haven't decided. I might just go find a shower first thing in the morning tomorrow. And I also need to figure out what I'm doing for dinner, because I do not know if I have anything in the van to cook. I haven't gone grocery shopping, or at least real grocery shopping, since I left my house, so not sure I'm gonna have anything. I always get questions when I go out on these road trips if I'm lonely, or if I get lonely, or if it's boring or anything like that. I wouldn't necessarily say it's lonely. I think there's a difference between being lonely and being alone. And like 80% of the time, it's just kind of me being alone. I enjoy being with myself, so I don't feel lonely, even though I am alone. And it's also nice because I'm constantly on the move, so I'm always doing something. So even on nights like this, when I'm stuck in a truck stop parking lot, I can find something to do to entertain myself and make the most of where I'm at. So I think tonight that's gonna be going in there and playing some of those vending machines, and maybe getting some dinner depending on what I have. But I don't think that I have much. I do have those cheesesteaks left over in the back there, but I don't really want another cheesesteak. And then other than that, I really don't have much. Just a bunch of cheeses and sauces. Also not a lot in here. We're just gonna have to head back inside, grab some dinner, and play some games. Wow, look at that sunset. That is spectacular. I think we're in Darien. Yeah, we're in Darien. It says welcome to Darien on the sign up there. I don't think I've ever been here. Maybe I drove through here when I drove up to that wedding with my girlfriend a few weeks ago, but I mean, that's one of the best truck stop sunsets I've ever seen. I mean, there's some great prizes in here. You got a PS5, Nintendo Switch, AirPods, Michael Kors purse, but they're basically impossible to win, but more Nintendo Switches, AirPods. See if we can win. Nope. I don't know how many tries I bought, but I got 6 left. Haha, I finally won one. I don't really know what it is. DNC Duckling and Chick Blind Box Series, number 1. It only cost me $30. It's so dark in here. Now we gotta find a spot to put our little friend somewhere in the van. Perfect. Now he can travel the country with me wherever I go. Honestly, living in a van, when you have kind of all the amenities that I do with the sink, oven, toilet, gaming setup, bed, it's almost exactly the same as living in a normal house, with the small caveat of you have to find a place to put your home every single night. And sometimes hoping you have enough water to do your dishes, like I do tonight. And also for anyone who's following along and has wondered what I'm doing with the truck, the Japanese truck camper that I'm building out, we have just had a bunch of delays in getting the truck over here and getting it set up and getting the camper shell built out on the back of it. It has taken a lot longer than I anticipated. I'm hoping it'll be done by the time I get back from this trip up to the Northeast. All right, I got most of them done. I'm letting that big pot soak because it's got too much crud in it for me to want to scrub it out right now, but There is a way for me to be able to tell how much water I have left, but it requires me opening up the back doors and going out there and checking, so most of the time I don't know. I have kind of a good mental gauge for it now since I've been living in the van for 2 years, so I kind of know about when I'm running low and when I need to fill up, and I'm just guesstimating. Right now is one of those times where my tank is pretty low. Dish is done, van reset for the next day of adventures, wherever that may be. But it has gotten to that time of the night where I'm probably just gonna lay down in bed, watch some TV, and plan where I'm heading to next. So as always, truly appreciate you guys watching, and I will catch you guys next time. I did not sleep very well last night at all. I don't know if it was the noise or that it got down to 40 degrees and it was freezing cold. I had to put on sweatpants and my hoodie last night, but starting to warm up a little bit because we slept in. So I'm currently at this rest stop in Darien, Connecticut still, which is where I was at in my last video and where we slept last night. But we are only 45 minutes from what is supposedly the pizza capital of the United States. And no, I'm not talking about New York City. I am talking about New Haven, Connecticut. Now, I had never heard of New Haven before a few days ago when I posted the YouTube video, Stealth Camping in Connecticut, and got a bunch of comments from all of you guys telling me that I need to go to New Haven to try the pizza because it's some of the best in the world. And since then, I have done some research and found out that it might indeed be some of the best pizza, at least in America. And one of these places is supposedly so good that Dave Portnoy even rated it a 9.2 out of 10.
9-2. So this is the leader in the clubhouse. This is it.
So there are 3 pizza restaurants in New Haven that we're gonna go check out. Sally's a Pizza, Modern a Pizza, and Pepe's a Pizza. And you might be wondering, why am I saying a pizza instead of just pizza? And I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know. I think it's an Italian thing, but over in New Haven, they don't call it just pizza. They call it a beats or a pizza, which I think is kind of like an Italian-American slang for pizza. Kind of like how instead of saying mozzarella, they say mozz or mozz. I don't really know, but I'm pretty sure everyone over there calls it a pizza. And if you know anything about my channel, we're definitely going to be attempting to recreate a New Haven style pizza in my tiny little van oven after we go check out a few places. And I'm probably gonna eat a pretty light breakfast today so that I have enough room for all the pizza that I'm about to engulf. And I guess RIP to the whole idea of me trying to eat healthier. The pizza that I'm actually the most excited for isn't even a New Haven style pizza, which I've done a bunch of research on New Haven style pizzas and the pizza restaurants that are in the area, and it truly is unlike any pizza that I've ever seen before or made. It almost has no cheese, and in some cases they just call them a tomato pie because there's so little cheese, and the cheese is considered actually a topping. I'm most excited to try Pepe's white clam pie, which was actually voted the best pizza in America. And if you know anything about me or this channel, you know that I absolutely love clam chowder. It's one of my favorite soups of all time. So taking clam chowder and pizza and combining them into one sounds like it's gonna be absolutely delicious. So very excited for everything that we have planned for today. And most of the pizzerias and pizza shops that we're going to have been around for 60, 70, 80, even more than 100 years. So excited to see all the rich history involved as well. A nice, quick, easy breakfast going this morning. Some sausage and egg. Actually, the last egg I had, I didn't realize that I was running out. All right, so I kind of been having that breakfast because we're running a little bit late, but before we head out of here, I'm gonna run inside to the little truck stop we're camped out at, grab myself a nice coffee. Then we got a few other things to get done before we can head up to New Haven. All right, van chores complete, and we're all nice and clean after a couple days without a shower, so feels pretty good. And I did want to fill up my van's water tank on the way here. I pulled into the gas station where I was supposed to be able to fill up my water tank, and there was a little lock on the spigot, I guess from people not asking and overusing it, so I wasn't able to fill my water tank, which kind of sucks because I am very, very low on water. But hopefully I should be able to find somewhere after today, because I looked, and in New Haven, it doesn't look like there's a lot of places, if any, that I could potentially fill up my water tank, but I'm not too sure. I guess we'll see. We're only about 20 minutes away from New Haven, so we're almost there. Whew, it's a beautiful day outside. There we go. We have made it to the famous Wooster Street, home of a few of the New Haven pizzas. And as you can see, Sally's is very popular. There's quite a long line there, so hopefully we can get in there and actually get a pizza. But Sally's is not where we are going first. Our first stop is the original New Haven Pizza, Frank Pepe's. As long as we can find parking. And there's an outrageously long line at that pizza shop too. All right, so there's a bunch of people parked on all the streets, so we had to pull a street over to find a parking spot. But we got one, and now I guess let's go wait in line for probably forever. So this town is super rich in history around food and specifically pizza. Frank Pepe's opened in the 1920s and was the first pizza shop to do a New Haven style pizza, so they kind of pioneered this whole thing. And then a few years later, his nephew Sal opened up the neighboring restaurant, which we drove by when we came in, Sally's, and created a kind of family pizza rivalry in the town. And then in the 1930s, a few years after Sal's, Modern Pizza opened, and this place kind of gained pizza destination status. And all of these places have been pumping out pizzas ever since. And also, in this video, you're probably gonna hear me say pizza and a beats interchangeably because sometimes I forget that's what they call it here, but I'm gonna do my best. Oh, I can smell the pizza already. It smells so good. Can I get the original tomato and a small, and then the white clam in a small as well?
All right, anything else?
That'll be it. So we've got about a 40 to 45 minute wait, according to the people in there. I asked them when I was in there what makes New Haven pizza so special. What makes New Haven pizza special?
Definitely the water.
The water?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I've heard. It's like it's in the dough, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I kind of already knew the answer because I'd done some research previously, but it is all in the way that they make their dough. So they make their dough in a very special way here in New Haven, which relies kind of on a longer fermentation than a pizza you'll get elsewhere, like in New York or anywhere else in the country. And like he said, in the pizza shop, it's all in the water. So you add the water to the dough very slowly as you need, making a very, very moist pizza dough, which kind of allows it to proof more slowly. And then you let it sit in the refrigerator overnight, which kind of gives the pizza a more nuanced flavor and a crunchier crust, supposedly. Never had it, so we're gonna find out. But I'm also gonna be on the look as I'm going to all these pizza shops today for a place that sells its dough, because as I said, you gotta let it rest overnight in order to make a New Haven style pizza dough. And obviously I don't have till overnight, so I'm gonna make it in the van, but I'm just gonna buy some on the side to be able to use tonight. So while I was waiting for my pizza from Pepe's, I walked over to Sally's a Beats, and the line here is way longer, which I think is because, at least from the online sentiment, I found that people like Sally's more than Pepe's. I'm not here to be a judge, that's just what I found, but I'm not waiting in that long line. I'm just gonna order it online, and it'll be ready in about 2 hours. It is currently 2:38. Our pizza will be ready at 4:15. And there we go, order placed. Now we just wait for both of our pizzas to finish. So I think while I'm waiting for my pizza at Pepe's, which should be done a little while before Sally's is done, I'm gonna go back in to Pepe's and see if I can buy some of their dough, because that would be pretty cool if I could use their dough to make my pizza tonight. Is it possible to buy just the dough?
No.
No?
So we only sell the sauce.
Okay. Can I get one of the sauces then? All right, card.
Oh, here. Show us.
Huh? Are you sure? Appreciate it. What's your name?
Alex.
Alex? Ryan, nice to meet you. Well, shout out to Alex at Frank Pepe's. He gave me a can of their tomatoes, so I'll be using this for my pizza tonight, but sadly, they wouldn't sell me dough, but they said across the street over here might. So we're gonna walk over there and see if we can get some New Haven style dough. Do you guys sell just your dough?
No, we don't sell dough.
Do you know anyone that does, anywhere that does or might sell like a New Haven style dough? All right, another bust on the dough, but we will find some. Yep. Awesome. You guys take tips? Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good one. Thanks. There we go. We've got our pizzas. Well, at least our first two. So, we've got two pizzas here. I don't really know which one's which. Ready? So I think traditionally these pizzas are served without cheese on top, but I got how he recommended it, which is, I guess, with mozzarella on top. But when I make mine tonight, I'm gonna make it in the more traditional way with pecorino romano, which is just grated Parmesan, I think. But give it the fold. Look at that char on the bottom from the stone-fired ovens. This looks so good. Cheers. Oh. I've never had a crust that tastes like that. It is so perfectly crunchy on the outside, and it does have like that bit of chewiness on the inside. So good. Wow. I mean, look at this pizza. It just looks beautiful. Nice crispy crust, sturdy. Absolutely gorgeous. Ooh, that is some amazing pizza. Very worth the wait. Can't eat too much of it right now because we still got 3 more pizzas to try. The next of which is right under this one. And that is the pizza that I think I'm the most excited for out of this entire trip. The white clam pizza from Frank Pepe's. Let's see how beautiful she is. Ooh. Oh, that smells so good. Wow. And I know that they get all of these clams locally, and I've watched a few videos on where they get them from. They don't say exactly where, they just say that they get them all locally. I think they shuck them in the restaurant. And I mean, you can tell that pizza looks delicious. Doesn't really taste like clam chowdery, which is kind of how I expected it to taste. And it's also kind of a lot lighter and airier than I was expecting, but very refreshing. And of course, it's absolutely delicious. And I'm spilling grease all over my pants, so probably have to change later. There we go. That is Frank Pepe's pizza, which I've probably been saying pizza this whole time. I think out of those two, I like the cheese a little bit better, if I'm gonna be quite honest. It's so good. I'm gonna have one more slice. And I was doing some research online about where you can get New Haven style pizza dough, and supposedly this place Modern, which is another traditional New Haven pizza style restaurant, they sell their dough. So after we get our pizza from Sally's, we're heading over there. All right, let's go stick these back in the van before we go pick up our second pizza, or our third one, I guess. Also, some of this architecture here in town is just stunning.
Hello, sir.
How's it going? Picking up for Ryan?
Don't have that quite yet, sir.
Ryan?
Ryan?
Yep.
There you go.
Thank you very much. All right, it came out like 40 minutes later than it was supposed to, but we have gotten our pizza finally. So I've been sitting here talking to this guy on the street for like the last 10 minutes.
I'm just a guy on the street.
I didn't realize it was the grandson of Frank Pepe. So do you run the restaurant still on a daily basis or no?
No longer, no.
No.
No, but we have a management team, a terrific management team.
Okay. That's funny. I asked if you were a Pepe's or a Sally's guy.
I know you did.
Before I knew, and said he was a Pepe's guy.
You know, and I appreciate you showing me the competitor's product.
Yeah? It's Frank's nephew, right?
That's
Who
correct.
owned it? Yeah.
Yeah, my grandfather's nephew, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Always on good terms. Always on good terms.
Yeah, so I'm hoping I can do it justice tonight, cooking my own style of pizza if I can find some good dough.
You're brave. You're cool. You're creative. That's cool.
I'm gonna try my best, but
That's very cool. Good for you.
But yeah, anyways, I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you very
You're gonna
much.
be here for a while.
I'll be here for at least a day. What are the odds I walk out in front of Frank Pepe's place? I was getting some B-roll for the video and I run into his grandson holding a Sally's pizza. He was nice though. He said if he didn't have a time restraint, he would have taken me back there and shown me the pizza oven, but they were super packed, so I didn't want to impose. Can't believe I asked him if he was a Sally's or a Pepe's guy. Ay, ay, ay. All right. It has been a long day of waiting for pizzas. Finally got all of them. Got both of Pepe's, met Pepe's grandson. That was pretty cool. Francis, if you're watching this, I appreciate you. Definitely be back through here at some point with my whole family to check out Pepe's Pizza. But now it's time to give Sally's a try. There we go. It's a reveal. They didn't have a small at Sally's, so I had to get a little bit bigger. So I'm definitely gonna have leftovers for a while, but this looks so good. Let's give it a go. Look at that. Almost the exact same cook, it looks like, as Pepe's. Nice char on the bottom. Crispy. Pretty good hold there on the fold. Cheers. Oh, it is so crazy how there can be so many pizza shops so close to one another with such good pizza. This is so good. Wow. I did have to wait a lot of extra time in order to get this pizza out, and I did stop on the streets. It was a little bit colder than Pepe's was, but wow. It's kind of hard to choose. I think if you come here, you just have to go to both. Easily the best pizzas I have ever had in my life. Wow. Well, I'm hoping that I'm able to do this pizza some sort of justice tonight when I try to cook it. I can almost guarantee you it will not be as good as Sally's or Pepe's Pizza. That was good. All right, now it's time to go get the ingredients, or I guess the rest of the ingredients because we already have some tomatoes from Pepe's, so we can cook our own pizza back here in the back of the van. Everything we need. Currently I'm in a Walmart parking lot, and I don't think that I can stealth camp here for the night because there's a bunch of security cars driving around the lot, so I can imagine I would get kicked out. But I did head over to Modern A Pete's on my way here, which is like the third famous A Pete's restaurant in New Haven, and I didn't get a pizza, but I was able to get some pre-made dough. We are actually gonna get to make a pretty authentic pizza tonight, or at least we're gonna try. I am gonna show you guys how to make the actual dough, but yeah, it has to sit in the fridge overnight, so we're gonna replace it with that one once we get to that part. But before we can do any of that, we gotta find a place somewhere on the street where we can camp tonight. As you guys can see in New Haven, there is not very many stealth camping and or camping options at all. I think I might go try out this spot at the Ikea parking lot. See if we can stay there for the night. Alright, so this is it. This is where we are going to try to stealth. Okay, gonna try to stealth camp tonight. I think back here we should be fine. Park right under this light. Alright, there we go. This is our spot for the night in the back of this Ikea parking lot. It's not the prettiest spot that I've ever stayed, but we're only about 10 streets away from Worcester Street, wherever we just were, where we got the pizzas earlier. Let's get to cooking some pizzas. I look like a pizza delivery guy with all these pizza boxes in the back here. So I already know that this whole process is going to be a super messy one, because anytime I work with flour in the van, it always is. First things first, we're making the dough. So overall, the recipe for making an pizza is not too difficult. It's got 4 ingredients, and the measurements do have to be pretty precise. So you need a scale, which I don't have. So I had to do a couple quick calculations because the recipe that I'm following is for a couple large pizzas and I'm only making 1 small one. So I converted it all down. So I need 201 grams of flour, which is approximately 1.6 cups. I need 139 milliliters of water, which is approximately 0.58 cups. And then I need 4.5 grams of salt, which is 0.8 of a teaspoon. And then I need a little bit less than 1 gram of yeast, so I'm just gonna eyeball that one. But that is what we need. None of it's gonna be as precise as I want it to be, but we're gonna do the best with what we have. First things first, get out my handy dandy snap bowl. It's the biggest bowl I have. All right, up first is the flour. I'm gonna try my best to do this without making a mess, but I probably will. Also, I'm not even 100% sure my calculations are right. We need 1.6 cups of flour. And again, I'm gonna have to eyeball that 0.6. So that's 1.5. That feels like 0.1 to me. As I said, the thing that makes the dough, which is what makes, according to the people at the pizza shop, a New Haven pizza, so special, is that it's super hydrated and it rises overnight. We need 0.58 cups of water. So again, we'll get a half a cup like that, and then we'll just guesstimate the rest. Seems just about right. And we will add in just a little bit of our yeast. I don't know, that feels right. I really wish I had a scale so I could measure this. Mix that together in the water, let it get nice and hydrated. And then the key here is to add a little bit of water at a time. So we'll add a little bit now, mix that together, and then we'll continue doing that until we've got ourselves a nice ball of dough. Hopefully. But the reason that we want to do it, according to the research that I've done, a little bit at a time is so that the dough fully saturates. But this is probably going to take a while. And now that we have our rough dough ball formed, we can take our salt, which I completely forgot to measure out. And for some reason my little teaspoon is missing, but we need roughly about 80% of a teaspoon. So I'm gonna eyeball that. And ideally you wanna use kosher salt, but the only kosher salt I have is super coarse, and I just don't think that would mend well in a dough ball, so we're using iodized salt. But if you can get kosher salt, you should get it. And then we can add our last little bit of water and finish up kneading. Alright, so I've been kneading this dough for a while, and it is still a little bit sticky because of how hydrated the dough is, which is what we want. But I think now it's ready to take its first rest. So we're gonna let this rest and rise for about 10 minutes. There we go, it's been about 10 minutes. And now, basically what you would do, obviously my dough ball is a lot smaller than your dough ball might be if you're making this, but essentially I would kind of turn it into a dough ball. So basically fold up the sides on the bottom here until it's nice and smooth on the top. Kind of like that. As a dough ball. I would let this rest for about 2 to 3 hours, let it rise, pull it out, reform it into a dough ball, and then let this sit in the refrigerator overnight, and then it would hopefully turn into a beautiful New Haven style dough ball. But since we need to let this rest at room temperature for a few hours and then in the refrigerator overnight, as I said, we're not using this dough ball for tonight's recipe, but I will use it for something in the future. I'm gonna go ahead and set this over here in this bowl covered with some plastic wrap. I'll let that rise a little bit. And now we can get out our already finished dough ball for modern a piece and make a pizza. And I completely forgot, like I always do, put on my apron. And of course, better late than never. Hopefully tomorrow ours will turn out looking somewhat like this. A lot of flour on this bad boy though. And before I start doing any of this, I'm actually gonna get my oven preheated because I always forget to do that. Get that turned on so it's ready to go when we're finished. So I think we're gonna go for 2 pizzas here because I have 2 pizza pans, and I'm gonna cut this into fourths because we definitely don't need all this dough. Put these 2 back. These are gonna be our 2 little dough slices. I'm gonna get these formed into a nice ball again. And hopefully this is enough dough for these 2 pizza pans, but I'm not too sure. But we can get these all pressed out. In there. There we go. We've got 2 pizza doughs roughly spread to the size of their mini pans. Kind of did the best I can. I haven't toasted a pizza in forever. They look like they're thin enough, like the pizzas that I ate today. So now we can get the topping, but first we gotta prep it. We've got our original Frank Pepe tomatoes, some Pecorino Romano cheese, olive oil, oregano, and then some fresh garlic that we're gonna cut up. And of course we've got to break out the fancy Japanese knife any chance I get. There we go. That should be enough. I'm not going to use my nice knife to smash them though. Get some of those into a bowl. And then now comes the really dirty part, because I'm just gonna hand mix these bad boys. But before I do that, I'll add a little bit of kosher salt and oregano. Just get in there and crush them up. There we go. That's our sauce. That's all it is. So now we can finally build our pizzas. So we're gonna do one of these in kind of more of traditional tomato pie, and then one of them in the type of pie that we got today, which had mozzarella on top. So from my understanding, from what I've read online, you hit it with some sauce. I don't want to overdo it with the sauce. Make sure you get that spread out nice and evenly. You don't want those bare white spots. Get it spread all the way to the crust. Just like that. Then you can hit it with some garlic. Nice and evenly. Some dried oregano. And then for a traditional tomato pie, the only thing you get is a little bit of Parmesan cheese on the top, and that's considered a topping. There we go. That is our New Haven style tomato pie ready to go in the oven. And now essentially I'm just going to do the same thing with this one, except I'm going to add a little mozzarella on top like the ones that I got today. So that's the only difference in this pizza and the pizza that I just made. There we go. Both pizzas are done, ready to go in the oven. And I forgot one last ingredient on this traditional one is a spiral of olive oil going around the whole thing. There you go. Those are our beautiful New Haven style pizzas going in the oven. And sadly, I don't have a stone fire pizza oven, so we're not gonna get that nice char on the bottom, but hopefully they'll still be somewhat good. So now we just wait probably about 6 or 7 minutes until those are done. All right, let's give them a quick peek. Ooh, those look beautiful. Maybe just a few more minutes and those things should be done. All right, with this oven, it's so hard to judge when these pizzas are done. I've been checking them every couple of minutes, but I think that I'm gonna take them out now because they look like they're just about done. That is the mozzarella one, and this is the New Haven style tomato pie. If there are any New Havenites, or Francis, if you're watching this video, I apologize if I have disgraced the name of a New Haven pizza here, but did my best with what I have, so hopefully it's good. But I am actually kind of hungry, so let's dig in. I can't pick this thing up. Come on. There we go. It smells so good. One final look at these beautiful pizza pies before they go in my belly. Let's see how they taste. Ooh. This is my favorite part of the day when I'm filming, is when I get everything cleaned up and done, and I just get to eat some of the food that I've spent 2 days studying and going out and tasting. But I think I did pretty good on this pie. I think it's a little bit dry. I think I didn't use enough sauce, but overall, very firm, crispy as I could get it on the crust, a little bit golden brown on the bottom, but it is pretty good. And I wish I could say I made this crust, but sadly I didn't, because it is absolutely delicious. Modern pizza, great crust. It's actually pretty good pizza. Generally, I'm not sure how many times I have probably interchangeably said the word a pizza and pizza, so I apologize if I'm confusing anyone. This is my best attempt at a Vanlife a pizza, and for what I had, it's pretty good. It's no Pepe's and it's no Sally's, but it ain't half bad. I think I'm gonna hold off on giving this meal a rating. If you guys are unfamiliar, every time I cook something in my van, I'll usually give it a numerical rating for how good it is compared to all the other foods that I've cooked. But it just doesn't make sense because it's so far away from how high the scores of the pizza that I had earlier today would have been. Very glad I stopped here. Very, very glad I stopped to get some pizza. But I think that is it for this video. As always, I truly appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already, think about clicking that subscribe button. It really does help out the channel. And I will catch you guys next time. So I'm slowly making my way up north. We are currently in Massachusetts at a random rest stop. And I don't know if you guys can see it, making it into some fall colors, so that's exciting. Today, in the spirit of Halloween, we're getting a little bit spooky, and we're going to Salem, Massachusetts. So, for anyone who's unfamiliar, Salem is a town in Massachusetts that's famous for some witch hunts that they had back in 1692. Yeah, 1692. Where over 600 women were accused and 20 women were sentenced to death for practicing witchcraft. But we'll go into the story more on them a little bit later, because it is actually a really interesting one. But for now, I'm just gonna enjoy my breakfast. All right, breakfast was delicious. Bed made up all beautifully, and we're just about ready to go. So Salem is very popular around this time of year, obviously, because we're getting close to Halloween. It's October, they've got fall colors. And because of its spooky backstory, this town is kind of one of the most popular Halloween destinations in America. So I'm hoping the crowds aren't too bad when we get there. Thank you very much. Have a good one. We've got our coffee and it is time to hit the road. We've got about an hour and a half drive until we get to Salem. Alright, and we have made it to the beautiful town of Salem, Massachusetts. I'm looking for both parking and a spot to camp tonight. I'm hoping that I can camp somewhere right in the middle of the city. And I saw on the maps that there's this old church that has a parking lot that I should hopefully be able to, 1, park for the day in, and 2, stealth camp overnight in, right next to the main street. So I think it's right here. Hopefully we can find a spot, because I know Salem around this time is absolutely crazy. It looks like this parking lot is pretty full. Yeah, it looks like there's a bunch of people driving around looking for spots. I don't know if I'm gonna get lucky and find one. Oh wow, we got so lucky. We pulled up on someone right as they were leaving, and I asked them, so we're gonna take that spot right there whenever they get out. Beautiful. Oh, we got so lucky. There's so many people driving around this parking lot looking for spots. That makes me so happy. And this is a bonus because it's a 2-for-1, because I'm pretty sure this is a paid lot from what I looked up online during the day, and then at night it's free. So all we gotta do is pay until a certain hour tonight, which I'm gonna go find out. And then we should be able to also camp here in this parking lot. We're just off Main Street too, so very good. You hear church bells ringing. It's kind of creepy. Alrighty. Let's go check out the town. That's gonna be our home for the night. Kind of right in the center of town. We're just next to this like really old church right here, which I think this is the old parking lot for that, but definitely not bad for parking. All right, so it's paid only until 6 p.m., 10-hour max. It is currently 2, so I only need to buy 4 hours, and I should be good here overnight. Oh, it's only $6 too. What a deal. Wow, and good thing we didn't come here on a weekend, because on the weekend it's $40 a day, and I can imagine it'd be an absolute madhouse down here, but we've got some perfect weather for October in Salem, very moody skies. And there we go, we've made it to the main street. That is Elizabeth Montgomery, who is a actor on the show Bewitched back in the 60s. And they actually ended up shooting a few episodes of that sitcom in this town, which is why the statue's here, when the Hollywood studio burned down or shut down or something. But even though we are here on a weekday, it is still packed to the max. Honestly though, not as much Halloween decorations as I thought there would be. It's definitely got an old-timey vibe as a town, but I don't know, maybe it's better on the weekends. So right now we're heading down the street to the first spot where we're going to check out, which is the old Burying Point Cemetery, which is where all of the witches from the trials were buried. So this is it. And while there aren't gravestones, the only memorial to all of these so-called witches are on these benches right here. And in total, there is 20 of these benches, each for a woman and man that was hanged wrongfully for being accused of being a witch. Alright, so we finished walking around the town and we are at our last stop, which is the Witch House, which is this big creepy looking black house behind me, and is actually the last standing relic of the actual witch trials themselves. And it was the house of Judge Jonathan Corwin, who was one of the judges who presided over many of the cases for the witches. And you can actually do tours inside. It's more of a museum now, but it's sold out for the day, so we can't go inside. I lied, the last stop is actually this house, which is the Hocus Pocus house, where they had the party for rich people. That is Salem in October for you. If you're gonna come here, I would imagine coming on the weekends, it's gonna be a billion times more packed, especially the closer and closer we get to Halloween. But today wasn't too bad overall. Not really too crowded. Also, the Salem Witch House is like painted the exact same color as my van. Kinda like it. All right. We are back at the van. And I gotta say, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just because it's not the weekend or something, but overall, it was a little bit underwhelming. I feel like there wasn't very many decorations or Halloween things, but I didn't really go in any of the haunted houses, so maybe those would have made up for it, but at least all the stories about the witches were kind of cool. Tonight for dinner, we've got a little bit of a Halloween-themed meal that I'm gonna cook. So I went to the grocery store the other day and picked up some things because on TikTok, I saw this recipe for stuffed bell peppers, where you get orange bell peppers and you carve them like pumpkins and make like a little stuffed pepper out of them, so that's what we're doing for dinner tonight. And also, I have my lights off. At least I'm gonna have them off more than I normally would because I don't know if you can see, but my battery bank is just about at half because we've had 3 days of just constant cloud cover. So it's been very cloudy for the last couple days and my battery bank has not had the time to regenerate. So I'm just trying to conserve power. We still have a decent amount left. I probably will cook with the lights on for most of it, but keep them off, at least these main ones, when I don't need them. First things first, let's carve some peppers. I'll turn the lights on for this. So I've got 3 bell peppers here, and gotta remember to take the stickers off of them. Only one has a sticker. Ew, well, that's annoying. They literally put the sticker on the bell pepper over a moldy spot, but I guess it shouldn't matter because we're cutting that part off anyways, but that's kind of annoying. I have a couple knives here and my cutting board. First things first, cut the top off just like you would a pumpkin. Set those aside. Take our smaller knife and just kind of clean out the insides without cutting through them, hopefully. There we go. Well, whatever. And now we can carve a different face in each of these sides. So I gotta find the flattest side on each of these. We got those two. I'm gonna try to carve a different face on each of them. So this one we're gonna go with like a classic, just pumpkin. There we go. Look at that. Give him a little nose. Are the noses are upside down, right? Beautiful. Oh, we just got to give him a little smile. We got to make sure to add a few teeth in there as well. We should be able to pop this out, and hopefully he has a nice little mouth going. It's so much harder on this small of a thing. Need like a smaller knife almost. No! I cut off a tooth. Oh well, he's a bit snaggletooth, but that's fine. There we go. It's a little bit snaggletooth, but he still looks decently good. Now let's carve the other two. There we go. 3 pumpkins carved. We got one scary face, one normal face, and then the third one I just got kind of tired of carving, so he looks like that. But I switched to the pocket knife because it made it a little bit easier. This one I'm the most proud of. He looks the best. But now it's time to get started cooking. For the internals of our stuffed pepper pumpkins, we're gonna keep it pretty simple and just do kind of some ground turkey and tomato paste and bake them with some cheese. Fancy knives coming out again. Chop up some onions. The bell chiming is so creepy. There we go. Oh, so I started preheating the oven while I got those pumpkins, so it should be good to go whenever we get those in there. But get these onions in there, get those nice and sauteed up. Now that these are all nice and cooked up, we can throw in a little bit of garlic. Put it down in there. Cook that for about 10 seconds till it's fragrant. Then we can throw down our meat. Now we can brown that up a little bit, and then we'll hit it with some seasoning. All right, so now that our meat is mostly browned, we can hit it with some taco seasoning. And then we can top that off with some tomato paste. And I'm not really following a recipe. This is something that I've made a bunch of times before. I've never carved faces in my bell peppers, but stuffed peppers is like one of my favorite ways to get a nice healthy meal. That's like well balanced. You got your veggies, you got your lean meats. Only thing it's missing is some carbs, but you could always make like a side of potatoes or something. Some water in here. And also, for those of you guys who've been following along, I have not been able to find water to fill my water tank for the last like 3 days, so I am really running on E. I have been rationing my water because I haven't been able to find anywhere, so hopefully I'm able to find somewhere tomorrow, because I guarantee you I have like maybe a gallon or something left. And I don't know why it's been so incredibly hard to find somewhere to fill my tank on the East Coast, but I just have had absolutely no luck. But we'll add a little bit of oregano, because why not? Mix that in there. And then we can take our peppers and stuff them. So these are some pretty big peppers, but I'm hoping they're all gonna fit in this little pot. Let's see, can we get lucky enough? Oh, perfect. So this is what we're gonna use to bake them. But now, we can stuff them. So I'm gonna do a thin layer of meat at the bottom of each of these. And you can really make this recipe your own. You can put whatever you want in the meat. You can make it pretty much with anything. You could even probably do it with more veggies or something, but throw down some meat, a layer of cheddar cheese, more meat, another layer of cheese, a final topping of meat, really pressing it down in there. And then I'm going to top them off with one final layer of cheddar cheese on top. And now these bad boys are ready to go in my preheated oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. Oh, that pot barely fits in there. Now we just let those cook. And I think while I wait for those, after I clean up a little bit of this stuff, I'm gonna head back out real quick, see if Salem's any different at night. Which you would kind of expect, since Halloween is more of a nighttime holiday anyways. So I'm just curious to see what it looks like. So let's get out there. Turn off my lights first, save some energy. There's still a bunch of people out. Maybe it does get more lively at night. Also, an added benefit of it being Halloween and there being a bunch of people here, there are porta potties all over the town, so it's really nice. If I need to go to the bathroom, it's not too far. All right, we've made it back to the main street here, and I'm gonna be honest, it's pretty much exactly the same as I was, and I mean, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, but this is the main street in Salem where all the Halloween festivities are going on, and it just feels like there's not very many decorations. Like, it's just stuff on the lampposts, and that's pretty much it. Maybe it's a lot more lively on the weekends though. Not really much going on other than a bunch of ghost tours that you can take. So there's a bunch of people all grouped up in these little tours going around the city. Anyways, there you go. That's what it looks like at night for anyone who's curious. All right, let's check on these puppies. Ooh. I think they need a little more time. Another like 5-ish minutes. All right, they should be ready to come out now. It's my timer going off. Oh yeah, those are done. Hopefully the faces didn't get messed up in the baking process. Let's take these bad boys out and get them plated up. Oh, that's so funny. Almost looks like he's throwing up. And there we go. 3 little pumpkin bell peppers. So cute looking. It's time to eat. And I think I'm gonna go for Big Mouth first. Rest in peace, little guy. Oh, it's so brutal. Oh my gosh. Oh, it kind of looks like brains. But it sure does smell good. Cheers. That is so unfortunate. Cheers again. It's pretty good. Anyways, I'm gonna finish this meal. I'm probably gonna save the other 2 for lunch tomorrow or something. And then it is getting late, so I'm probably gonna go to bed. Oh, and before I forget, we will give this meal a rating. And since this is a pretty generic meal that I cook kind of often, I'm gonna give it like a solid 6-1. It's just super easy to make, super tasty, nothing special though. I'm gonna finish this up and get to bed, and then we're waking up tomorrow, and I have no idea where I'm going, so don't know where my next video will be at, but that's kind of the fun of living in a van, so I will catch you guys next time. Good morning. If you guys couldn't tell already, I'm at another rest stop here in, I think we're in Maine now, but I've been staying at truck stops and rest stops in cities for the last 5 or 6 days, and I'm kind of over parking and staying in parking lots. So tonight we're gonna get back out of the wilderness and hopefully see some fall colors. Oh. This is my first real trip out here on the east coast of Maryland, and I've had nothing but trouble trying to find places to camp out in the wilderness. I've had no trouble finding places in cities, but out in the wilderness it's a little tougher. I have not been able to find anywhere to fill up my water tank. Yesterday I had to go to a Home Depot parking lot, and I asked the kid that was working the garden center if I could use his hose to fill my tank, and luckily he allowed me to, but there has just been no type of facilities for van life out here. But I guess that's what happens when you have such a densely populated region. I can tell you one thing, I am sick and tired of camping overnight in rest stops right along the highway, so it's gonna be nice to get out into the wilderness tonight. Hopefully the fall colors are shining through. But let's get out of here and head up north. Also, I haven't had the best luck with the weather on this trip either. We've got, I mean, kind of nice weather today, but it's supposed to get cloudier later and then rain for the next 3 days, so kind of lame. Actually, you know what? Before we hit the road, I'm gonna come back here and get my Xbox turned on. It's been 2 years and I still haven't installed the switch for my inverter, but I wanna make sure that my games are fully updated so that when I get to the spot that I'm going to tonight, I don't have to sit there and wait for them to update. I can just update them on the way there. All right, so it does look like we actually do need to update a few, so I'm just gonna get those started and leave the Xbox on and let them update while we drive up to the spot we're going to tonight. Hopefully at least a few of these games get updated on the drive up there. I feel like we should be fine. We're getting 24, sometimes it jumps up to like 40 megabits per second, but I haven't really played video games a lot in the van recently, so tonight I might get into some of that. Something just exploded. What was that? I don't know what that was. It sounded like a gun went off. But anyways, let's hit the road for real this time. this should be our spot right here. Just kind of in between some of these houses up here. Down this path, it should lead right to the edge of a pond. Oh gosh. Hopefully we're not expecting rain tonight or I'm getting stuck back here. Wow. I mean, this is stunning. Little fire pit too. I'm gonna pull up right next to the water. We might have to move. It's not very level right here, but before we do that, we'll get out. So I found this spot on a website called Hip Camp, which is basically people who have land rented out to people like me who want to come camp on their land. And it was only 30 bucks for the night, which is kind of pricey, but I would rather pay for the price of having the freedom to be out here by myself with views like this than to have the amenities of a RV park, but to be crammed up next to 4 or 5 people. So this is definitely a lot more private, a lot better. Got my own fire pit, and basically this entire pond to myself. Kind of wish I had a kayak or something. Maybe these are seaworthy. I don't know. Oh, they got a little paddle boat though. Definitely not operable. Maybe we'll try to take one of those out in the morning. I don't see any paddles though, so maybe not. But anyways, this is our home for the night. And it feels so good to finally be out in the wilderness and be able to camp with my doors open. But I am very, very unlevel. So I'm definitely gonna have to move. And it doesn't look like there's very many level spots on this yard, if any. I might have to break out the leveling blocks for the first time in a long time. Pull the van right up there where it's somewhat level, and then some leveling blocks on this side. But first, let's check and see how our games are doing. I think it stopped halfway through and turned off. Yeah, and we're getting really crappy connection here. We've got 1 kilobyte per second. But it looks like Fortnite and Rocket League downloaded, so at least we'll be able to play those. Before we do anything else, I'm gonna get the van as level as I can. Oh man, I haven't used these things in so long. All right, 4 might have been a little ambitious. I think this ground is a little too soft. Never mind, this just isn't gonna work. The ground is way too soft. My tires are slipping on the other side and I'm basically just pounding these things into the ground. All right, so I was able to get it up 1 level, but I mean, it's not really offering that much support, but it's a little bit better. I also read online there's supposed to be a grill over this fire pit, but I think that's this. So we're gonna use that. And once it gets a little bit later tonight and the sun starts setting below the horizon over there, I'm gonna load up a few games of Xbox. I don't think I'm gonna get the fire going quite yet. And just start prepping some of the ingredients for dinner tonight because we're making a cozy fall stew just with the ingredients that I have in the van. I think I have enough to make some sort of stew, which has a very loose definition of meat and vegetables cooked in a pot of liquid. So I think we have at least that. Ooh, I think I have potatoes too. Oh, yes. Nice. Don't know what I have in terms of veggies though, if I'm gonna be honest. Is a potato a vegetable? I think so. Yeah, it is. Obviously. We get peppers. Wow, my pizza dough has risen so much. Oh my gosh, I haven't checked on this in so long. This is that pizza dough that I made in New Haven. Huh. We'll have to use that for something soon. Maybe some of these tomatoes from Frank Pepe's. I have some left over. And then I don't think I have anything else. I could have swore I had an onion, but I guess not. There we go. We're gonna make some spinach, pepper, potatoes, meat, and tomato stew. Hopefully it comes out good. All right, I think we've got everything prepped for dinner. Let's go see if we can't get that fire started. I bought this at the store too because I've always wanted to use one and see if I can start a fire with the striker as opposed to a lighter. It's actually a little bit cold out, so I think I've changed into some warmer clothes. There we go. I got some big logs on there. Fire is raging, nice and warm. Oh wow, my hand is like raw from scraping that magnesium. I really underestimated how hard it was to do that. Very, very windy out too, so I'm lucky I even got it started. Should be able to start cooking here hopefully soon too. This wind is brutal. Nice little fire going here. It's not the prettiest, honestly, but it'll do the trick. Let's get to cooking. So first things first, we're gonna get the garlic and the oil, let it get nice and fragrant. Step back over the fire. Over this side. I'll let that cook for about a minute, and then we'll start throwing other things in. Can't forget to hit those with a little seasoning. Garlic powder, onion powder. Half of that blew out. And then just a touch of paprika. And also, kosher salt. Oh, looks so good already. Trying to find a good spot on here. It's a little too hot everywhere. I didn't build my fire very well. All right, so those have been cooking up for about 5 minutes. I think it's time to add our veggies, potatoes and peppers. Just throw those in there. Some of our tomatoes from Frank and Pepe's. And then now that we've let that cook up a little bit and take it inside, add some water. And then I'm just gonna add some bouillon to it, turn it into a stock. And this is gonna be our stew. Once we're finished cooking this over the fire, I'm gonna let it sit here and stew for like 30, 40 minutes. I'm gonna add some spinach to finish it off. Add in some bouillon. We can get this loosely covered with some tin foil. And we'll let that cook for about 30 minutes. Might be a little less because this fire is kind of hot. Whew. So much more work cooking over the fire than it is on my stove. But I wasn't about to waste this campsite inside the van again, so. Now, we just gotta wait about 30 minutes for that to finish. We got some dinner. And I don't know why my Xbox keeps turning off. Maybe that's like a setting you can change or something, but I don't touch it and it just turns off. But I think it stays active and updating because Apex is a little less than halfway. Not getting the best internet speeds, 59. Oh, now we're down to 4. It was at 15 or 20 megabits per second, but now we're at 4. So, don't think we'll be playing Apex tonight. That's typically what I do when I need to download games, is if I have a long drive, I'll just turn my inverter on, turn the Xbox on, and update the games while I'm driving. But probably got another maybe 10 minutes. I got the fire moved over there, and this is just sitting on some coals, simmering away. And I mean, this is a stunning spot. Just look at that sunset. These people up here are lucky to have this as their backyard. All right, it has been about 35 minutes. This has been sitting out here over the fire cooking. Take this top off. Woo! Delicious. The last thing we gotta add is some spinach. I'm just gonna chuck some of this in there. I don't know how well you guys can see it with the steam coming off, but this came out so much better than I expected it to. It smells absolutely heavenly. And there we go. Our little fall campsite stew is complete. And just in time too, because I am starving. That looks delicious. So while I'm waiting for my stew to cool off enough to be eaten, I'll get myself one more log on this fire. Hopefully it doesn't die out on me. And we're making some hot toddies too. I went to the grocery store and I picked up some local, fresh apple cider. Warm some of that up over those embers. Get some whiskey and cinnamon sticks. We'll have ourselves a nice drink in about 10 minutes. This wind is absolutely killer, but the moon is rising just over this little, I don't know what this is, a reservoir lake. Perfectly clear skies. Should be some good stargazing tonight. And this stew is like piping hot. But it is so rejuvenating being out here finally again in the wilderness and not on some city street cooped up in the back of the van. I've missed it so much. It does suck. We're kind of close to a road over there, so this car is constantly driving by. But I can't complain with the view. But anyways, cheers to some Vanlife stew, hot apple cider, and a truck driving by. Oh my gosh. Wow. For just throwing stuff together in the van. That is such a good stew. I might have to make this my own recipe. Call this Ryan Van Stew and start a cookbook. And I feel like the only thing it honestly really needs is some beans. Some beans would really set this over the top, but if I had to give this a rating, I think this one's gonna be a solid, give it one more taste. I'm giving this a 7.3 out of 10, it's that good. And that's up there with some of my highest ratings. Not the highest, but definitely give this one a try on your next camping trip or on some cold winter night when you want something warm and gonna make you feel good inside. I'm gonna sit out here, enjoy the rest of this meal and the little bit of light we have left, and then head inside and see if we have good enough connection to connect and play some games. All All right, so as you can tell, the fire is on its last leg, and it's getting super windy out, but I did buy some s'mores. I got some caramel or peanut butter or something filled s'mores that I'm really excited to try, and I got another pot of apple cider cooking up over on some embers over here. But I've officially run out of firewood, so this is the last little bit I got, and my light just died, so now I don't have that. Still got some light from the campfire though, but I'll roast up this marshmallow and see what that peanut butter stuffed filling tastes like. And I know some people like their marshmallows completely charred on the outside, which sometimes I do if I'm gonna peel off the outside and just eat the gooey center, but I prefer when I can get them perfectly golden brown all around. So peaceful out here. I love the East Coast, but there truly is nothing like the West Coast of America. All right, well, I can't really squish this down because I guess the center of it's kind of hard, but got my good old Yosemite mug out here for my drinks. This is my favorite wintertime drink, and that is what I call a perfect campsite dessert. Oh, wow. Oh, it's so good. The stuff that was inside of it, I can only kind of describe as that peanut butter inside of a Reese's. That's exactly what this tastes like. This is so good. Wow. And this is perfect for me because I don't like chocolate, so typically when I eat s'mores, it's just marshmallows. I'm gonna go out and clean the rest of that up tomorrow. I don't really feel like doing it right now in the dark, but we'll go put the fire out. And luckily, filled my water tank, so I got 30 gallons of water to put that fire out. And also, before I do anything else, actually, I'm gonna go close that back door because that looks absolutely terrifying. All I can picture is someone crawling through that, so we're gonna get that closed expeditiously. Wonderful change of pace today, being able to go outside, not being cooped up in here. And I can't really tell if my connection is good enough. It seems like it's pretty spotty because every so often it'll flash. I'm getting like 13 megabits per second, and then it just drops to basically nothing. So I might have to use my phone. So see, there it goes. Now I'm at 3 megabits per second. So I might just have to use my phone's hotspot, but Apex isn't going to be downloaded tonight anyway, so I'm going to pause that. And for those of you guys who are wondering how I stay connected to Wi-Fi right now without using my phone, one, I have Starlink. It's not on right now, but I have it from when I'm out in places where I don't have phone connection. And then I do have this back here. It is a Wi-Fi router. I don't really know how much I can say about this without incriminating myself. Because the process I had to go through to get that set up was a little bit shady. But essentially there is a SIM card in there that I plugged in the bottom, and I have a data plan that has unlimited data, and I use that as a unlimited hotspot. And it works relatively well. It's not the best, not the worst. Service is kind of spotty sometimes, but whenever I don't have service on that, typically I'll have service on my phone. Whenever I don't have service on my phone, sometimes I'll have service on that. Just kind of depends. Also, if you guys have any questions about my gaming setup or how I power anything in the van, I do go live every so often playing games in the back of the van, where I'm happy to answer any questions or anything you guys have about my van's gaming setup. Yeah, we're getting a little bit more consistent speeds. For my phone, it's a little bit slower, around 10 megabits per second, but should be good enough to play a game. Let's go see. Also, this mount that I have my TV mounted to, it's locking. I know I've said this before, but I haven't said it in a while. So for anyone who's new here, this, and I know people hate when I touch the screen, but push it in and it's locked. So when I'm driving down the road, it doesn't come flying all over the place. And then behind this mess of wires, there's a latch I can pull that unlocks it, and I can pivot it to wherever I want in the van. And usually I keep these wires kind of tucked up behind here. It doesn't look as ugly. Since it's a little bit higher, I can tilt it down and point it right at me while I'm playing. Also, this desk chair that I'm sitting in really does barely fit in here. I can't lean back too far unless I'm like almost directly sideways. So I have to usually lock it upright so that I don't lean back and like chip up my countertop. For the front of my cabinets back here, which I've already done a ton. I don't know if you guys can tell. You can see all of these like black scuff marks from my chair hitting the black paint there. I also tried to repaint it here and didn't blend it well. So the amount of lag that I have in any given game is kind of very dependent on where I'm parked, what service I'm using, and all that. And obviously it's not going to be as good as your Wi-Fi in-house if you live in a van. It is decent enough and it is playable. And I don't plan on going pro anytime soon, so it doesn't really bother me too much. Also not the best of this game, so don't judge me. Oh, I hate this game. I'm so bad at it. Anyways, I'm gonna hang out here, play some games for us tonight. See you guys in the morning. Morning. Slept pretty well last night, actually. Much better than I had the last 2 or 3 nights at truck stops next to trucks running their engines. I think I've got a few more days, maybe 2 or 3 more days of heading northward. Then we're gonna reach the apex of this journey, right around Bar Harbor in Maine at Acadia National Park, which is one of the last national parks that I have yet to visit. So I might head up there and then start making my way back down. And I think when I head down to Maryland, I'm gonna swing out a little bit more west into the mountains and hopefully get some more wilderness on my way back and not so many rest stops. I'm gonna get all this mess cleaned up, packed away, and enjoy my coffee. We'll catch you guys next time. Morning. It has been cloudy and raining for the last 5 days. We've gotten just a little bit of sunshine, but we're still making the best of it and making the most out of my New England van life road trip. But this is what happens when you stay up till 2 a.m. playing Xbox with your friends back home on a battery bank. You wake up to less than a fourth of your remaining power left. And it's not just because I stayed up late playing video games, it's because my batteries haven't been charging that much. 1, because I haven't been driving too far, and 2, because it's been so cloudy, so they haven't been recharging with the sun like they normally would. But we've still been making do. We've got a little bit of a drive today, so we should gain some of that back. Just another thing you gotta think about when you live in a van. The air is super moist out right now. I woke up and the entire van was kind of a little bit damp on the inside, and it just makes me feel super gross. So I really need a shower today. Last night we drove a little bit more up the coast of Maine. We are maybe 1.5 to 2 hours outside the city of Bar Harbor, which is the apex of our trip. And last night we stayed here in this parking lot in this little town called Rockland. And I don't know why I came here. I saw it on my maps, it looked cool. It was right on the water, so I figured yesterday when I was driving, I didn't want to stay at another rest stop. So I pulled into this little pier marina. I don't even know what it is. Parking lot, but there's some benches, a couple food trucks, so I think I'm gonna get breakfast. And then nice view of the water down here. Ooh, a lot of seaweed. But yeah, we got some sun in the distance. Maybe the sun will come out today. Doesn't really look like it will though, but then again, this weather service is always wrong. Also, this place that I camped last night felt super safe because, I don't know if you can tell, but right there, that is a police station. So, don't think anyone's breaking into my van here. Anyways, let's get some breakfast. Didn't really feel like cooking this morning, so glad there's little food trucks here. And I didn't even realize it before I came to Maine, but I Googled it while I was driving up here. There is really not a lot of people who live up here, which might be confusing because of its size. It's actually a pretty large state, but its largest city only has about 70,000 people living in it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have a good one. Oh, look at that. Now that is a breakfast sandwich. So I think today we're driving up more north, obviously. But as you guys know, I love clam chowder and I love lobster rolls, and I've been in Maine for 3 or 4 days and I haven't had either of them. So today we're definitely getting both. And I might try to cook one in the van too.
Father, help!
Breakfast completed. We got the sun poking out a little bit. It's gonna be a good day today. Have a good one. Sandwich was amazing.
Was it good?
Yeah, I came by yesterday. I had a chicken sandwich too. It was so good. You guys come up to Maine, check out Tuck and Roll. They got good chicken sandwiches and good breakfast sandwiches. It was nice meeting you. What was your name?
Brian.
Brian?
Toothaker. Nice
Brian.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Have a good one.
Absolutely, man.
All right. You guys come down to Rockland. Check out Tuck and Roll down here at the Harbor Park. Absolutely delicious food. I was here yesterday too. Got a chicken sandwich. Easily one of the best spicy chicken sandwiches that I've had in a long time. And if you do come by, tell them Ryan sent you. But before we head up to Bar Harbor, we got a few things we got to get done. But we're gonna try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone here, because I think right down the street from this laundromat, where I'm about to do my laundry because it is way overdue, there's a Planet Fitness. So instead of doing these things separately, we're gonna save some time, do them at the same time. And also, somehow I lost my laundry bag that I've been using for the last 2 years. I don't know how. Maybe it got left somewhere. But I had to buy this plastic bag, and I've been using it for like the last 2 or 3 weeks. We're doing a full laundry day today, which means sheets are going in too. And I hate doing sheets because it's such a pain to make this bed. But it will be nice to get into bed all showered and clean tonight with fresh, clean sheets. Oh, nice. They take credit card. I love laundromats that take credit card. All right, both are in. We've got 30 minutes. Let's go see if we can get a shower before they're done. Luckily, the Planet Fitness is literally right there, just out of the parking lot. We should have plenty of time before our stuff is done. There we go. All clean in record time. And yes, I had to get in the van, set up my camera, get out of the van, and get back in the van for that shot. And for the last few days, I've been feeling really weird about doing those shots because I watched this video on TikTok of this guy who did this Target run and set up cameras everywhere in public to watch him walking around from a distance. And it was just so funny because it reminded me of me when I film, but at least most of the time when I'm setting up shots like that, it's not in a public space, so whatever. But we are all clean, and we should have about 10 minutes before our laundry's done. First piece of dirty laundry, going in the laundry bin. Looks like our laundry is done. I can see it from here. So I guess we didn't beat the time. Oh no, it's almost done. This one's still going. We got 4 minutes. We beat this one by 4 minutes. Well, that's not mine. Now, we just wait 25 minutes. Let's get the bed made up and put all this away. There we go. Beautiful. Bed made, clothes folded, put away. Good to hit the road. Also, I don't think this is something I've done before, but we've got a 2-hour drive up to Bar Harbor. And as I told you guys before, my battery bank is super low. I'm at 71 amp hours, which if broken down into a percentage is around 23%. So we'll see how much we have after this 2-hour drive. So I can give you guys an idea of how much charge goes from my van's battery while I'm driving back to my house batteries. Because if you didn't know, when I run my van, the additional charge for my alternator that I don't use gets sent back to charge my house batteries. So if I had to estimate, we're gonna be at about 137 amp hours, which is 45% full on my batteries when we get there. But I guess we'll see. I will check in with you guys once I get there. Alrighty, we are just about there. We're about 2.5 miles from Bar Harbor itself. We passed through a little bit of rain on the way here, but it looks like it might be actually kind of clearing up. You can see some sort of blue skies over there, but it is absolutely beautiful up here. There's still so much color in the trees, and there's actually some variation in the landscape as opposed to it just being flat. And now we just gotta find somewhere to park. All right, so I've done a lap and a half around the parking lot. I think we might be getting lucky and these people are leaving. Perfect parking spot. We're getting really lucky with parking on this trip. So unfortunately, I don't think we can stealth camp here overnight. We should be able to at least stay here until nighttime and check out the town and see a few things. But to give you guys an update on the battery bank, we actually did not charge as much as I thought we would. We are currently at 122.5 amp hours, which is approximately 40% of our battery is charged. So we're still pretty low on that, but it's better than what we were at. And I should be out of the van for most of the day today, so we won't be using too much of that power anyways. It is a bit chilly out today, so I need to dress in something a little bit warmer. Ooh, this socket's still a little wet from the washer. So I think today's video is going to be kind of a 2-day video special, as opposed to what I normally do, which is just 1 day living in the van. So this video is going to be today and tomorrow, because there's a bunch of stuff that I want to check out up here, and I don't think I can fit it all into 1 day, so it's gonna be fun. So I think technically this is the off season for up here, which is kind of crazy. I feel like fall would be the peak season, but apparently it's summertime, so there isn't a ton of people up here, but there still is a pretty decent amount of people. But the cool thing about Maine and Bar Harbor and everything up here in the Northeast is that the tides are absolutely crazy. So here in Bar Harbor, the tidal difference from high tide to low tide is 10 feet. And we are currently on a rising tide right now, almost at the top. So this is about as high as the water will get. Give you guys kind of a visual of where it's at. It's almost up exactly to that wall. And a really cool thing that we're not gonna be able to get to do today, but we will tomorrow morning, because that's when the next daytime low tide is. The next low tide tonight is at like 10 or 11, so I won't still be here in the town then. But over here, see that island? That is called Bar Island. And right there on the end of it, you can see a little spit coming out. At low tide, the water lowers so much that a land bridge forms from that island all the way over to here that you can walk across. And tomorrow morning around 10 a.m. when it's low tide, I'm gonna come out here and we're gonna walk across that all the way over to that island and check it out, which I'm actually pretty pumped for. You can just tell based on the infrastructure here that the tides vary wildly by how long this platform is, so it can lower down with that platform and raise up when it goes up too. Pretty cool, pretty neat little town, way up here in the north. Definitely gonna have to come back up here at some point and take the ferry up to Nova Scotia. But I am absolutely starving, and there's this place up the street called Getty's or Jetty's or something like that. It's supposed to have pretty good clam chowder, and I've been craving clam chowder since I've been here. Packed in here. Just grabbed a seat at the bar. It's a pretty cool place. Didn't even need a menu, I already know what I'm getting. And there we go, look at that. I am in heaven. This is so good. There's really nothing that beats a bowl of clam chowder. Easily one of my favorite meals of all time. Woo. That was some good clam chowder. But can't sit in there forever drinking beer and eating clam chowder. Go check out some more of the town. These views up here are insane. I'll never get used to the crazy diversity that America has in its landscapes. Also, not really sure what's going on with that roof over there, but for some reason it seems the pigeons really love that one specifically. That's so weird. Wonder why they're doing that. So I think this is like the main street. Bunch of little shops and stores and stuff up here. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We've walked all the way down to the end of the main street, from all the way down there. Acadia National Park is basically directly that way, maybe about 10 miles. I'm excited to go and check that out tomorrow. I've heard it's really cool. This is one of them fancy ProMasters. These are nice, but I personally think on the inside, those look too much like a tacky RV. Very nice, got a lot of features, but don't have a lot of personality. A lot of ProMaster Winnebagos out. All right, so got myself a coffee and some gifts for my girlfriend from one of those gift shops. And I think I might need to find a rain jacket too, since it might rain all day tomorrow. Woo. Good thing I stopped to get a rain jacket. It just started raining pretty hard. I actually found a pretty good deal. It's only like 25 bucks. It's crazy. Throw this on, go check out down the coast. And then tonight, we're cooking whole lobster and making lobster rolls. Very moody weather on my road trip out to New England. And it has really started raining out here. It was a light drizzle before, but now it's really picking up. I ended up grabbing my umbrella from the van. My camera was getting a little too wet, but this is for reference how high the tide is, pretty much at maximum tide right now. So I'm gonna come back to this exact spot tomorrow from this exact angle and kind of show you the difference in the tide here along with a few other spots. But I've never seen it before, and apparently it's crazy, so I'm actually kind of excited to see what it looks like tomorrow. But I'm also gonna walk down to that little land bridge that supposedly forms on low tide, so I can give you guys some perspective on that as well. So we made it down here. This is supposedly the land bridge that is supposed to be here that goes over to that island, Bar Island. And right now it is currently under 10 feet of water. And it is absolutely crazy that this is gonna lower enough so where we can actually walk on our feet all the way over to that island. But I think it's time to head back to the van. Not the most ideal weather. All right, so I was walking back to the van and I saw a bunch of these street parking spots, but I don't know if you're allowed to stay overnight in them, but I'm gonna go ask this hotel guy if he knows. He didn't really know. Also, I told him I was staying at a hotel and he was like, which one are you staying at?
What hotel are you staying at?
I was like, oh, I don't know the name of it. I think we should be fine though. Find some street parking here that we can stay in overnight. The only issue with a lot of these streets is it's a very kind of hilly area. I don't know if you can see that street right there, but that is way too steep of an incline. So I gotta find one, a flat street, and two, a street that I can park on. And if not, there is a Walmart like 25 minutes away, but personally I'd much rather stay here. I was just walking by and I realized I left all of my lights on. So that's great. Wasting battery that I don't have. But yeah, I can see my battery meter over there. I'm back down to under 100, which kind of sucks. Just such an unnecessary waste of power. Oh, we're actually not under 100. We've got a 113 amp hours left on our power. Let's go see if we can't find somewhere to sleep tonight. Oh, actually, before, we have to go to the grocery store and get our ingredients for our lobster rolls. So on our way to the grocery store, I'm gonna scope out some spots where we could potentially stay the night. Let's see, what does that sign say? Parking permit required May 15th to October 30th. It sucks that it's so close to after October 30th. Yeah, all these spots say parking permit required. It might just be you need a permit during the high season, and we're just on the tail end of it. All right, let's go get what we need. All right, and we've got everything we need. Lobster, rolls, some lemon, chives, garlic. Already have the butter. Don't really need much for a lobster roll. And I think I'm just gonna send it to that Walmart. There's just not really many places in this town where I can potentially stealth camp. And sometimes that's just the name of the game. So it's about a 20-minute drive to get there, and I will check in with you guys when we arrive. All right, we have made it to our spot. We were parked in the back of it's pretty dark out so you can't see, but we're parked in the back of a Walmart parking lot, 30 minutes outside of Bar Harbor, and it is time to cook some dinner. Before we get started cooking, I do have something to say. So when I was in the grocery store, I decided that I was going to, instead of getting a fully cooked lobster, that I was going to buy a live lobster like my friend right here. And before you click off this video and tell me I am messed up for killing this lobster and eating it, let me say my piece, and then if you want to click off after, you can. Also, I won't be showing any of the killing, so don't worry about that. So I'm gonna keep this pretty short, but basically, when I was in the grocery store, I was debating between whether I should buy a fully cooked lobster or a live lobster and cook it myself in the van. And the main reason that I was deciding between a fully cooked and a live lobster is because I didn't know if I should show that here on YouTube or talk about it or get into it, because I know it's a very polarizing topic and I don't like to normally talk about stuff like that or do things like that on my channel. But ultimately I decided to get the live lobster because I wanted to say something about it, because it's something that I kind of believe in. So I think people have this moral dilemma between eating meat and how it actually gets to them, and not being able to be the person who dispatches said animal so that it can end up in their burger or on their plate. And in my opinion, I think it's important to at least have some sort of respect for the process for how an animal goes from being alive to being on your plate. And I think it's best summed up in a quote from Game of Thrones where Ned Stark says, "A man who passes the sentence should swing the sword." I think if you're gonna eat meat, you should at least be involved in the process from beginning to end at least once in your life, so you can have some sort of respect for how you get your McDonald's burger or something else. Basically, I just think it's important to have some sort of respect and perspective for how all of the meat that you're consuming gets to the point where you can consume it. So without further ado, we're gonna process this lobster, and I'm gonna be doing it in the most humane way that I possibly can, at least from what I've researched, and that is by taking a knife, sticking it through the head, and chopping down, and then immediately after placing them in the boiling water. I know that 90% of restaurants in most places don't do that. They just place them alive into the boiling water. But if you know me, I can barely hurt a fly. Whenever I catch a bug or do something, I always catch it and release it. And if you watch my old videos, you know that every mouse that I've ever caught in the van, I've caught it and then taken it outside and released it. So anyways, let's make some lobster rolls. So the reason that most people boil the lobster directly without killing it is because lobster spoils very fast. And I'm not talking within hours or days. It's almost like minutes. So I'm gonna get this water boiling so it's ready to go. And then I'm going to dispatch this lobster and hopefully have some pretty good lobster rolls. And while we wait for this water to boil, I'm gonna get started prepping on the other ingredients. And also, one more thing on that topic. I'm not saying that if you can't be a part of processing an animal that you shouldn't eat meat. All I'm saying is that if you can be a part of that process at least once, it might be something that's insightful or gives you perspective and respect for how all of the meat that you consume gets to your plate. Anyways, I digress. So for these rolls, I'm gonna be melting a little bit of garlic and butter in the pan and then toasting these bad boys up. So, melting some of that butter in the pot back here, along with some garlic. Let's get these bad boys nice and toasty. Do these one at a time and just stick them in there face down until they got a nice toast on that inside bun. There we go. That is beautiful. All right, so we've got our nice and toasted buns. Our water is at a rolling boil. And now I am going to dispatch our crustacean friend in the most humane way that I found possible online. And there we go. He has been dispatched and is now cooking up. So we'll let him sit in there for 15 to 17 minutes, cook through. And I forgot to mention I did salt this water as well. And then we'll break him down, butter him up, and serve him on a roll. While we wait for it to cook through, I'm gonna get some butter melting in the back over here, along with the juice of half a lemon. Squeeze that right in there. Throw in some chives, as well as a little bit more garlic. All right, it has been about 15 minutes. Go ahead and pull this guy out of here. So I'm gonna wait for him to, as you can tell, he's very hot after just coming out of the pot. So I'm gonna let him cool down for a little bit, and then we're gonna break him down and assemble our lobster rolls and eat some dinner. Alrighty, I think he has cooled down enough, at least enough for me to handle him. So there goes one. But we're gonna take off the claws, bending them forward, breaking them both off. And then we're gonna separate the tail from the head by gripping the tail, gripping the head, and kind of just twisting in opposite directions. Pulling that out. And then we can extract all of our meat. So from the tail, you can just pull it out just like that. Beautiful little piece of lobster meat. And then the same thing from the claws. Just kind of like that. And then we'll do the same thing for the other claw and then both knuckles. And there we go. Not the most meat. We got a little piece of tail right there, 2 claws, and then as much of the knuckle meat as I could get out of them. Honestly, I kind of expected there to be more meat. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fill both of these rolls, but we'll get at least one. And I'd rather have one fat one than 2 half-filled rolls. So I'm gonna take my roll, spoon just a little bit of that butter mixture on the inside here, get it nice and coated on each side of the bread, rip up this meat just a little bit. I kind of like it in bigger chunks, and then take all of that meat and just jam pack our roll with it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're just gonna do one roll. That looks so good. And then we can take some more of our butter, chive, and garlic mixture, drizzle that on top, sprinkle a couple more chives on there, and then you know I'm from Maryland, so gotta hit it with a little bit of Old Bay to top it. That is our Maine fresh lobster roll in the back of my van while stealth camping in a Walmart parking lot. So I'm starving, so let's eat. Kind of sucks we only got one roll, but at least it's like a fat packed roll, and it looks so good. Cheers. Oh, so good. That is absolutely fantastic. This is the first time I have ever cooked a lobster in any way in my life, and man, that is so good. If I had to give this a rating, easy 6.9 out of 10. But there you go. Dinner was delicious. Still a little bit hungry, so I might make something else a little bit later, but we have got a bunch of stuff that we're gonna do tomorrow. We're gonna go check out that tide, walk across over to Bar Island, and then check out Acadia. The rain really just started picking up. And then check out Acadia National Park. So I'm going to get this whole mess cleaned up, get these lights turned off, save some of that energy we have, and go to bed. So I will see you guys in the morning. Good morning. It rained pretty much all last night. It was super peaceful. Didn't have to have my fans on. Nice and cold, but it is still raining out, I think. Yeah, there's a light drizzle outside. Another cloudy day though. I don't know if the rain's supposed to stop too. Yeah, it is supposed to rain all day today, but not too heavy, so maybe we'll get lucky and it'll fade out. But it is time to get up because today we've got to make it back down to Bar Harbor before 10:30 so that we can make it down to that land bridge and walk across over to Bar Island on low tide. So as you guys can probably tell, didn't do my dishes last night because I didn't really feel like it. I did get a little hungry last night after eating the lobster because there wasn't as much meat on there as I thought there was going to be. So I ran inside and got these like bacon, egg, and cheese toaster strudels. I've got some left over for today. So I'm waiting for my toaster strudel to finish. I'm getting changed here into some clean, warmer clothes. Definitely gonna get some good use out of my rain jacket today too. Breakfast is ready. Hot, hot. Jesus. Coffee done. Breakfast made. Ate half of it while I was waiting for my coffee. Now let's get down there because low tide is in 45 minutes. All right, got about a 30-minute drive back down there. Check in with you guys once I get there. All right, we have made it back to our spot here on the pier, and the tide is so much lower, it's almost unbelievable. Those boats used to be almost parallel with the end of this pier, and now they're like 10 feet lower in the water. It's so crazy to see that. I'm gonna head out to that spot that I stopped at yesterday and said I was gonna come back to, and give you guys a little perspective on exactly how much the tide has changed, and I'll kind of flash back to yesterday and show you the difference from that exact spot. All right, we're all kitted up, ready to go. This is how low the water is now. So you can see the water line on that pier where it was at yesterday and where it's at today. These boats are kind of bashing around a lot. So I'm gonna stop by a few of the spots that I stopped by yesterday and just kind of flash back and forth between where the tide's at now and where it was. First one being over here. When I first got here, I came up and I showed you guys where the tide was at along that wall over there, and it was almost up to the wall, if not at the wall, touching it. I'll flash back and forth between it a few times, but that is where the tide was, and this is where the tide is now. almost 10 feet, if not more, lower than it was. And you can see why they have those stairs that are on those platforms so long. So when the tide goes up, it can flatten, and when it goes down, it can lower down enough. And this is right around where I took that second shot yesterday, where I told you guys I was gonna come back. And I don't even think that I saw, I guess you guys will know, I don't think I saw any rocks here. I think it was water all the way up to this wall, if I remember correctly, but either way, it is a lot lower than it was. It's time to go check out that land bridge. All right, so I made it here, and I'm walking down that road that I walked down yesterday, down to the shore. And this is what it looks like. So this is just about where I stopped yesterday, and the waves were hitting my feet. And now there is a very clear bridge all the way from here to across there, and it's at least 4 or 5 feet maybe out of the water. And there's so much down here you can go and explore too. So technically when we're walking out here, we are walking out on the sea floor, I think. But either way, I'm surprised it's so solid. Like, you would think it would be super silty and muddy and mucky and almost like the mud flats up in Alaska, but it's just regular sand. So that's that road that I walked in on yesterday. Crazy. And there we go. This is officially as far as I can walk out on this land bridge. We're quite a ways out here. This little spit kind of comes perpendicular to the land bridge itself that goes from Bar Harbor over to Bar Island over here. And I will say a lot of these stones are like perfectly shaped skipping stones. So I can find one without barnacles on it. Woo! That was a good one. There wasn't so many barnacles on every rock. It'd be a lot easier to find one to throw. But now that we've walked all the way out here, we might as well walk the rest of the way over there to Bar Island. Rocks are brutal to walk on. And there we go. We have made it. And up here you can go on field trails and stuff, and apparently it's part of actually Acadia National Park. Good thing we have our pass, but I'm not gonna walk too far up here. And there's a sign here that says, if you stay here past low tide, you'll be stranded for 9 hours. And you gotta call a water taxi that apparently takes a while to get here. We gotta make sure we time ourselves and get out of here before tide gets too high again and closes off that bridge. I will say though, the atmosphere of this place in the rain is kind of cool. Reminds me of Seattle almost, Washington. There we go. I'm not gonna walk up too far because it's starting to rain and I'm getting soaked. Pretty good views up here. But I think it's time to head back down, back to the car, and head over to the Maine Acadia National Park. Just got out of Acadia National Park. Some of the views were a bit obscured by clouds because it's such a rainy day out. Still got to see a bunch of it, and it is a beautiful park. If you can make your way up here, you definitely should. It is well worth it. But this is the apex of our journey up north. We're not going any more north than this, and I think it's about time for me to start heading home. I'm not sure what my exact route is going to be back south, but I do want to hit upstate New York and then New York City as well, so I'll be stopping in those two places guaranteed along the way back, and maybe some others. Not really too sure yet, but this has been a really cool trip. I'll definitely have to take another trip up here, maybe head up north into Canada or Nova Scotia or something like that, but definitely recommend coming up here. It's beautiful. I think that is going to be it for this video, and I will catch you guys next time. Morning, or I guess good afternoon, because I slept in a little bit this morning and then sat in bed on TikTok for about an hour. So we're getting a little bit late of a start on the day. And also it might have been because last night was probably the quietest night's sleep I've gotten since I've been in New England. We stayed in this Walmart parking lot last night, and it was eerily silent all night long, and for the last week and a half I've been staying in truck stops and rest stops right off the highway with road noise and all that, so it hasn't been the quietest. So maybe my body just took advantage of the fact that it was quiet last night, but slept in a little bit later than I anticipated. But now that we have a clean van and a good night's sleep, it's time to get out of here. And yesterday I actually drove a few more hours south than I was in my last video, so now we're just outside of, or we're in upstate New York. So I think for today I'm hanging out in upstate New York. We're not gonna make our way down to the city until tomorrow, because I don't think I'm quite ready to be back in the city yet, so We're gonna enjoy nature a little more, whatever we can get out of it. And then we'll head into the city tomorrow and check out New York and try to find a place to stealth camp there. Which I'm actually excited for because I have never tried to stealth camp in New York City before. But it'll be interesting to see what kind of spots we can find. I really had no idea how beautiful upstate New York was until I started doing some research on it and found that there's a bunch of cool places where you can go, a bunch of cool rock formations, mountains, and canyons and valleys and all that kind of stuff up here. So I don't have time on this trip, but maybe I'll come back up here again and spend a few days up here in upstate New York. But before we can do anything today, make myself a little breakfast sandwich. There we go. Breakfast is served. A little bit of green juice and a beautiful looking breakfast sandwich. Divine. So when you think of New York and the foods that this state is known for, there's probably one food that comes to mind that stands above all the rest. It's delicious, it's got a city in the name, everybody loves it, and you probably already know what I'm about to say. Obviously, it's buffalo wings. Although New York is known for its pizza, and it's probably the #1 thing it's known for. I just did an episode on pizza a few weeks ago, so we're not gonna do that again, and instead we're gonna do buffalo wings, which supposedly, according to the internet, originated in Buffalo, upstate New York. And although we aren't actually in the city of Buffalo, we are still in upstate New York, so I think tonight we're gonna go find somewhere we can camp somewhat in the wilderness. Not a lot of options up here in New York that aren't a paid campground, but I'm gonna see if I can find somewhere and we're gonna cook some buffalo wings. Before we go looking for a place to camp tonight, we're like 15 to 20 minutes away from this waterfall that looked really cool that I found on Google Maps, so I'm gonna go check that out, get some upstate New York nature, and then go buy some ingredients to make some buffalo wings in the forest tonight. This is such a beautiful town too. We got mountains in the background. Beautiful sunny sky today for the first time in a few days. It's been raining miserably for the last 3 or 4 days that I was up here in New England. All right, and we have made it here. There's actually a lot more people here than I thought there was gonna be. So I don't think the hike to get down here is super long. Also, wearing my new crew neck. I got this in Bar Harbor when I was up there a few days ago. Right down this path, there's a pretty cool waterfall that I wanted to check out on my way to our campsite tonight. Catterskill Falls. So peaceful out here. I wish I had allotted more time to this trip so I could go out and explore more Western, but I gotta be home. I got plans with a girlfriend, so now we just have a reason to come back up. That is so cool. But honestly, you can't see much from this platform, so I'm gonna walk down there. So the interesting thing about these falls is that back in the day, there was a hotel and a lodge or something that was up here right next to where the falls are, just above them. And the guy who owned that lodge actually purchased the rights to own the waterfall and the land around it. And he actually built a dam above the waterfall where he would block the water, and then he would charge people a fee to turn the water back on and watch it gush over the waterfall. There you go, this will give you some perspective for just how high these waterfalls are. I'm gonna try to get down there. I just don't know how to get there yet. But look at the colors, so colorful out here right now. There we go. We've made it to the bottom. It's quite windy down here from the water from the waterfall, but that is beautiful. And yes, I know I'm wearing Birkenstocks with socks, but these are the shoes that I have worn on 99% of every hike all around the country that I've ever been on in my life. So they're my favorite shoes of all time, and I don't think I'll ever stop wearing them. But look at that, that is crazy. I feel like I'm in that scene from A Quiet Place where they go behind the waterfall and they just scream. Crazy, it is so loud. It's so cool. All right, it is time to head back down and walk back up the billion steps that I walked down to get back up to the car and head out and find a spot to camp tonight. One more look at the falls before we leave. Beautiful. And I'm really not sure where I'm gonna end up parking tonight or camping because the Northeast is in a way kind of like England or Great Britain. There's a lot of history here, been around for a lot longer than the West has, which means historically there have been a lot more people who lived on this side of the country back when there weren't as many regulations or federal land, which basically means there have been more time, more people, and less regulations around buying land, which then means that there's less free public use land, which results in significantly less free campsites for me to stay in. And if you look at a map, and I'll overlay it on the screen right here, of BLM land in America, which is Bureau of Land Management owned land, which basically means it's government land that you can use to do whatever you want, like hunting, fishing, camping, etc. And if you look at this map, almost 80%, if not 90, I'm not sure the exact number, is west of Texas. So tonight we're probably gonna end up at a trailhead parking lot because sometimes those are the only good wilderness parking spots you can find on the East Coast. But yeah, that is why the majority of van lifers stay on the West Coast. These stairs are absolutely killer, so I will see you guys when I get back to the van. All right, now we just gotta find a grocery store, get all the ingredients we need for the buffalo wings, and then we're heading over to a trailhead stealth camp for the night. All right, let's hope this place has some good wings. Price Chopper, Super Center. So I'm gonna try to make everything in these from scratch, including the buffalo sauce and the ranch. But obviously we can't make the wings from scratch because I don't have chickens or time to raise them. So these will have to do just fine. Drive by. All right, now we've got to race to our camping spot tonight so we can make it there before sunset. Hopefully I can find somewhere that's close by. These shorter days are really starting to catch up with me, especially when I sleep in. Let's find a spot. Alrighty, I finally found somewhere after 20 minutes of searching. And we are 30 minutes away, so let's head over there. Alright, so we're almost there. We are driving about a mile down this random back road where there should be a lake at the end with, it looked like on Google Maps that there was some pullouts right next to the lake where I could potentially pull over and camp for the night and at least have like a nice view. Hoping to get a little lucky with our campsite tonight. And our little one-lane road has turned to gravel. Ooh! This is nice. This is where we're gonna hopefully camp tonight. It is beautiful out here, wow. The only thing is I do have absolutely zero service, so that's a bit unfortunate. Maybe we'll set up the Starlink tonight. Wow, it is so quiet out here. This is beautiful. Upstate New York. Continuing to surprise me. Looks like there's a guy over there taking photos. I don't know if he's photographing wildlife or whatnot, so we'll stay quiet. Perfect reflection in that lake. Or pond, whatever this is. I think it's a drinking water reservoir. But anyways, great spot. Definitely glad I came out here. We've got some dinner to cook because I am starving. First things first, gotta get everything back out of the fridge. There we go. I can't forget to apron up. Probably gonna be a little bit messy of a dish. So I went with only drumsticks from the store because they didn't have any like combo packs. And the only wings they had were like the big value packs where they had like 70 wings and I just don't need that many, so we're only drumsticks for dinner. They fit perfectly in my little pan. First things first, gotta get these bad boys seasoned up. And for that, we need some baking powder, onion powder, paprika, salt, and some fresh cracked pepper. Mix that all together. Then we can use this to coat our wings. Just gonna toss this in there. Nice coat on the top. Nice coat on the bottom. Like that. Then we can take these out, set them aside, and clean out my pan because I'm an idiot and mix them in the pan that I plan on cooking them in. So now we're gonna clean this out. Now we can get some olive oil. I'm just gonna use the spray, because this is what I got right now. Coat the pan in the olive oil. Throw these wings in there. Hit them with the top coat of olive oil. And then we can place them in our oven if it was preheated, which I forgot to do. So I'm gonna turn on the oven and let it preheat a little bit before we toss them in there. Now that we have to wait for our oven to preheat to put these in, I'm gonna get started prepping the rest of the ingredients. And I decided while I was at the grocery store that I was gonna do a side of French fries. So I'm gonna start getting these cut up into little French fries sized pieces. Gotta wash them off first. And I've decided that I don't want to peel these guys, so we're not going to. All right, so I bought 2 potatoes, but I don't think I'm actually gonna need them. I think 1 potato is enough. And now we can take these cut French fries and let them soak in a bowl of water for like 30 minutes. Let's let these soak. All right, I think I've given my oven enough time to preheat up. I'm gonna go ahead and throw these in there. Let those cook for around 30 minutes. While we wait for those to cook, we're gonna get started on making our ranch dressing dipping sauce and our buffalo wing sauce to coat the wings in when they're done cooking. Starting out with our buffalo sauce. So we're gonna pot on the stove, get that hot. And then for our sauce, we're gonna upgrade some Frank's Red Hot just a little bit by adding, obviously, some Frank's Red Hot, a knob of butter, a splash of Worcestershire sauce, some honey, and then finally just a splash of white vinegar. Now we can get that cooking and let that simmer for 5 to 10 minutes. We should have a nice, beautiful buffalo sauce for our wings. Now the final thing that we have to get prepped is our homemade ranch dressing, and the only thing I gotta really prep for that is just chopping up some of this dill nice and fine. So get that done while our chicken's cooking. And then by the time the chicken's done, hopefully everything else is finished as well. Let's make some ranch, and this is the first time I've ever done this, made ranch dressing, so I'm excited to see how it comes out, if it's anything better than what I typically eat, which is Hidden Valley, and also this sunset. Spectacular out here. Such an amazing campsite find. Anyways, so in order to make the ranch dressing that we're making, we need 1/4 of a cup of buttermilk, 1/4 of a cup of sour cream, 1/4 of a cup of mayonnaise, teaspoon of white vinegar, onion powder, dried parsley, some of our dill, garlic powder, some salt, and then to finish it off, just a little bit of pepper, and that is our unmixed ranch dressing. Now we can mix all that together, and we should have a nice, hopefully, ranch dressing. Let's give it a taste. It's pretty good ranch. I didn't know it was so easy to make. I might have to start making this myself instead of buying it. Now everything should be prepped and ready to go for when those wings are done. Except for these French fries, but we'll cook those up in a minute. All right, now that we've got everything, we got the sauce still simmering, we can drain these French fries. And then I'm just gonna fry these bad boys up right in this pan. I was initially gonna bake these, keep it a little bit healthier, but I just don't have enough room in my oven, so we're going with fried French fries, how they're really supposed to be made. We'll get that pot heating up on the back, throw some oil in there and get that nice and hot. And then once it's up to temp, throw in our fries. Probably gonna do it in batches because I don't have a lot of oil. This sauce smells perfect. Probably take that off the heat for now. We still got a little while until the wings are actually done, because I have to flip them and cook them for another 20 minutes after they come out. All right, I think my oil is just about hot enough. Throw our first round of French fries in there. Beautiful. Everything's cooking. We're making such good time. I don't think we're gonna finish dinner before the sun sets, but it doesn't really matter because we got to enjoy it while we were cooking. I also think it might be time, just about to give these chicken tenders a flip. I can't believe there's so mosquitoes alive. Or chicken wings, not tenders. A little flipsky. Oh, those are so good. And now we can throw these back in there for another 25 minutes. There's my alarm going off telling me to take them out and flip them. Stop. Alrighty, it's been about 25 minutes. We are on our last batch of French fries here. They look like they're just about done. Go ahead and pull those out. My pile's looking a little small because I've been snacking on them as I've been waiting. Chicken legs probably need another 5-ish minutes. So we're gonna leave those in there. And while we wait for those, we're gonna finish off these French fries, upgrade them just a little bit. So ideally I'd have some truffle oil here to pour over these fries, but I don't have any. So I wanna do like a truffle Parmesan type fry, but sprinkle them with a little cheese, kosher salt, and then toss them and just keep repeating that process till they're all coated. Also hit them with a little bit of dried parsley, make them look pretty. There we go. Those are some salty Parmesan-y fries, and they look absolutely delicious. And they are absolutely delicious. Also, the sun has pretty much fully set, so it's starting to get dark out and bugs are flying around, so I'm also gonna get this door closed. The time has come. I think these wings are just about done. Go ahead and pull these out. Ooh. Those look delicious. Hot. Our sauce has also been thickened up. I'm letting it cool down now, but it's nice and thick, ready to be coated on these wings. We'll let these cool down for like 5 or 10 minutes though before we finish everything off, plate them with our French fries, and eat some delicious dinner. Alright, I think these bad boys have been cooling long enough. Time to get them coated in our sauce and eat, because I am starving. Look at that. That is a beautiful looking plate of dinner. Wow. Scoop out some of our homemade ranch. And now we can eat. This meal definitely looks delicious. And the fries are so good. But looks can be deceiving. So let's give it a taste. Grab some of that ranch. Look at that. Cheers. Oh my God. Wow. That might be some of the best buffalo sauce I've ever had in my life. Typically, I don't like it very bitter and spicy, which is how it usually comes. This is so perfectly sweet and spicy. Oh, also, I did throw some brown sugar in there. I forgot to mention that. If you're going to try to make this sauce. Wow. Chicken is cooked perfectly. Ranch dressing is so good, too. I feel like everything's just better when you make it yourself. This is genuinely, not to toot my own horn, one of the best wings that I think I've ever had. I'm kind of mind blown, honestly, because I don't have any service out here, so I wasn't really following a recipe. I was just going with what I thought would taste good. If I had to give these wings a rating, I genuinely think they deserve a very, very solid, and this is the highest score that I've ever given so far, 8.9. These are that good. Like, easily some of the best wings I've ever had, restaurant or not. But I'm gonna sit here, finish these absolutely beautiful wings. When I get my Starlink set up, so I can text my girlfriend and let her know that I'm not missing, because I didn't text her that I wasn't gonna have service tonight. I think that is going to be it for this video. As always, truly appreciate you guys watching. Definitely try out that wing recipe. It was absolutely delicious. I will catch you guys next time. Oh, it's cold. It's not even really that cold out. It's just kind of like that morning waking up. Everything feels colder, but this definitely wasn't a bad place to sleep last night. Very quiet and absolutely beautiful. Great slow way to start the morning. This spot we stayed at last night in upstate New York is absolutely stunning. It's not like the prettiest campsite, it's just off the side of this gravel road. But, I mean, you can't really complain with a view like that. Today, we are leaving our little peaceful campsite here in upstate New York for the hustle and bustle and chaos of New York City. So yeah, we are going to be stealth camping tonight in New York City. I'm hoping I can find a spot somewhere near at least a metro station. Before we head into the chaos of New York City, I do want to enjoy at least a morning coffee out here with this great view. Also, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to brush your teeth before you drink coffee. Or after you drink coffee, because it stains your teeth. I don't really care. We are making somewhat decent time today. We're a little bit late, but we can afford it. There is some construction going on across the river. I don't know if you guys can hear it over there, but we're far enough away that it wasn't even loud. I couldn't even hear it this morning until I opened my door. And it's so crazy how still this water is too. I've never seen a reflection so clear in water before. It's like it's too still to not try to skip a rock. See if we can get a good one. That one's decent. Ooh, that was like 15. All right, I walked a little bit far down this beach looking for rocks, so it's time to get out of here, head into the city. So I won't be able to load maps until we get back on the road somewhere. Time to hit the road. I will see you guys in 2 hours. We have made it into the city, and now we just got to make it to our parking spot. I'm looking for this alley that kind of has a view over the river into the city, and that's where we are going to stay for the night. So it should hopefully be right down here. We should be able to find a spot, but we will see. Doesn't look like there are a ton of open spots. Might be one right here though. Oh yeah. Definitely not the easiest road to drive on though. Had to back up over the curb a little bit, turn around. This is it. This is our spot for the night. I'm so glad we found somewhere too. Looks like that might be a house right there someone built. It is so relieving to have a spot. I hate driving in cities. So I have read online that this place is affectionately known as Van Alley. And I'm about to get out and show you guys why. So we've got a pretty, honestly, sick view of the New York skyline. I don't know how well the camera's picking it up, but nice view of the skyline over there, right next to this like pretty cool looking park, honestly. Little water fountain. The reason this is called Van Alley is because it's a popular spot for people who camp in their vehicles to stay when they come to New York. So we've got one right there. That thing is sick. They got like a composite top on the top of a minivan. On top of that, they have a roof rack, which is pretty cool. And then back here, two other vans, school bus, definitely a van, has solar panels on top. And then there's another van behind that as well. Just in this little area, there's 3 vans. And I'm guessing a lot of these are also stealth car camping rigs. That one definitely looked like one. And then there's me, right here, next to this pile of sticks. Another camper van. Another, what looks like a permanent camper van. This might be a house. I think it is. It's got a door. That is so sick. I want to tour that. And then a bunch of motorhomes, motorhome, van. Is this yours?
Yes.
It is? You live here?
No.
Oh, no.
I'm just upgrading, fixing, changing the ceiling.
Painting your stuff? That's pretty cool.
Just getting ready for the summer.
Uh-huh.
Because I go to Cali. I go to,
Oh, really? Yeah.
yeah, but I really live in Port Jefferson.
Okay. How long have you been like here on the street?
I've been like 2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks? Okay.
Yeah, but the ones who live here are this one, and I think the ones down there.
Okay, yeah. I'm in that one right there. Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
Good luck with your painting. So she's been parked here for 3 weeks painting and doing some rehabilitation on her on her camper. But these are pretty cool. This one is sick. That's a dope camper. But yeah, that's why it's called Van Alley. Anyways, I'm gonna go get a bag and we're gonna head back to the van and go check out the city. I just realized walking back here, this house right here literally has yard decorations. That's so cool. I hope I see him at some point. I want to tour that thing, see what it's like. Alrighty. I think we're ready to head out. In New York, concrete jungle where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do. So first things first, I gotta get some food in me. I am starving. I skipped breakfast this morning. And I figured we got pizza in New Haven, and I commented on how good it was. Even questioned that it was better than New York pizza. So it's only right we go get a slice of New York pie. The place that I'm heading to isn't the best pizza in New York, but it is one of the highly rated ones, and it was the closest one within walking distance. So I don't think this place is ranked at the level that the pizza places that I went in New Haven were. Also, if you haven't watched the video where I stealth camped to New Haven, definitely go watch that. There we go, Joe's Pizza. How's it going? Can I just get 2 slices of cheese? Gotta take my hoodie off, it's hot. Hotter today than I thought it was gonna be. Look at that. Beautiful slices of cheese pizza. All right, hit it with all the toppings. Beautiful looking pizza. Cheers. Despite this being a really, really good slice of pizza, I think I prefer the New Haven. Pizza deleted. Let's get out of here. All right, now that we are full of pizza, since we're in New York, I figured might as well head into the main city. So I'm gonna channel my inner Casey Neistat to make my way over there. we have made it to New York City. Well, Manhattan. You wouldn't be able to tell because I'm currently in Central Park unless flip the camera this way. See the whole skyline over there. There's even a guy fly fishing over here. I wonder what you can catch in this pond. New York City, the only place you see someone fishing in full business attire. Yeah, that's Central Park for you. And I really wish I could have parked more central in the city because there's a ton of bike paths and I do have my electric bike in the back of my van, but taking that thing on the metro seems like a headache, so I decided to walk, but kind of regretting that decision now. Good. Yeah, have a good one. I'm on a GoPro. I can't even zoom out. I don't know why I just did that. But I've got myself some New York swag and we have made it to Times Square, which is, in my opinion, the ultimate contrast from Times Square where we just were. So totally different environment. It's crazy these are only a mile apart, especially when you come from like deep within Central Park. New York City is a crazy city. So I'm not gonna stay here in Times Square too long because I gotta get back to my van before dark because I just don't feel like being out here at night in a city I'm unfamiliar with. But I wanted to walk from Central Park to here, which was actually a lot longer of a walk than I thought it was gonna be, but we made it. And I think I might go try to find a little grocery shop or something where I can get some food to make dinner tonight when we get back to the van. I'm being targeted by all the people trying to sell their mixtapes because I'm wearing this shirt. They typically target tourists. And this thing pretty much screams tourist. But honestly, coming to places like this is why living in a van is so much better than, in my opinion, than living in an RV. Because even though it's technically possible, I guess, because those people that are parked on my street were in an RV, I just can imagine it being a billion times more of a headache to come to places like this as opposed to living in a van where I can find parking in pretty much any spot that a normal car would fit. So I think I have a few steaks in the van that I'm gonna cook tonight, but I'm gonna grab some stuff to cook them with. All right, we've got everything we need. It's time to head back to the van, but it's gonna be about an hour to get there, so I'll check in with you guys once I make it back. All righty. Whew. So, I think it's time to take off this shirt. Not even really 100% sure why I bought it, but nonetheless, here we are. It's getting a little cold out. Throw on a hoodie. Alrighty, ready to rock and roll. So I think the guy that lives in that little shack over there just got back. I saw him pull up on his moped as I was walking in the van, so I'm gonna go see if I can talk to him. Excuse me, do you live here? That's good. Do you mind like talking to me for a second? I want to see the inside.
Sorry?
I live in that van right there, and I'm coming to
This one.
yeah,
Yours.
yeah. And I'm staying on the street. I walked by this earlier. I was wondering if you could show me inside. I think it's so cool. Sweet. How long have you been staying here?
3 months.
So this is where you stay full time.
Yeah.
And what, you do food deliveries?
I'm not delivery. I'm a carpenter. I'm working.
Oh, you work carpets?
Yeah, carpenter.
Oh, okay. That's pretty, oh, carpenter.
Yeah.
So this is it. Did you build this yourself?
Yeah, I'm building.
Really? That's pretty cool. So you got your bed right there. What is that? Is that a heater?
Yeah, heater.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And then you power it with this?
This is a generator.
That's pretty cool. That's so cool.
Inside my computer.
Do you have a computer in here? Oh, I see it back there.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I step in?
Yeah.
And what was your name?
Akeem.
Akeem? Ryan.
Right.
Nice to meet you. So, oh, you got a cool light. So this is Akeem's house. He let me come inside to check it out. He's got a bed over here. He's got a laptop, little pantry. This is a neat little setup. How long did it take you to build it?
2 days.
2 days.
Yeah.
Have you gotten any like people who've come up to you and like try to kick you out, like the cops or anything, or no? So I guess I'm good to stay in my van then?
Yeah.
This is so cool. I like your little window too.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So how long are you planning on living here?
1 year I'm coming to America.
1 year?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been in America 1 year? Where are you from?
Turkey.
Well, I wish you best of luck. What are you having for dinner tonight? I'm cooking steak. Do you want a steak?
Steak?
Yeah, I cook steak.
Really?
Yeah, I'll make you a steak.
Okay.
You want one? I'll bring it out when I'm done cooking.
Okay, thank
yeah.
you.
All right, yeah. Oh, you got a grill too?
Yeah.
Oh, you got everything out here. So his neighbor has a little outdoor ottoman, and he's got his little house and his grill.
This have wheel.
Oh, it has wheels. Oh, so you can move it.
Yeah, now it's going coming, no problem.
Oh.
Yeah.
Appreciate you showing me it.
Thank you.
I'll bring you the steak when I'm done.
Thank you.
So that was the Keen. He lives in that thing right there. That is so cool. But I told him I'd make a mistake, so we're gonna go in there. We're gonna cook some steak and bring it over to him. All right, I'm gonna try to make this steak as good as I can for him, but we'll see. So first things first, preheat the oven here. Get that turned on so we can bake it. Get it to maybe I'll do a little bit more than a medium rare since I'm cooking for someone else. Don't really know what he likes. And we can work on getting a nice sear on these steaks. So I bought these a few days ago, and I gotta cook them tonight or I think they're gonna go bad. And I got 2 of them, so it's perfect. 1 for me, 1 for him. Butter. Grab some of that. Some garlic. That should be good. I'll get the heat on this pan. Get that nice and ripping hot, and we should be good to cook. I think I'm also gonna throw some bread in the oven, get that toasting up for us for a side. I was gonna do a side of potatoes, but I just don't really feel like cooking those. So we're just gonna do some toast, maybe some garlic butter toast. So I'm gonna keep the seasoning on these bad boys pretty simple. We're just gonna use a little roasted garlic and herb on all sides. Get those nice and seasoned up. A little salt on there as well. There we go. I think this pan is just about hot enough, so we're gonna go ahead and throw those in there, get a nice sear on all sides. I'm gonna add some seasonings and pop them in the oven. They should be finished up. That is beautiful. I'm also taking some butter and rubbing it on this toast. Take some garlic bread out of them. Couple sprigs of rosemary, and then some garlic. And start spooning some of this on top. Now, oh, I hope my bread isn't burnt. Take my bread out of here. Oh, it's perfectly toasted. There we go. And we can pop this in there and let that cook for right around 5 or 6 minutes. Honestly though, you gotta respect the hustle of that guy. Built his own house on the streets, works in carpentry, and it's so crazy that he's only been here in America for a year. He said he's from Turkey. He already has a place in New York City. America is such a crazy place. But we're just waiting on these steaks to finish in the oven, and we're gonna bring it over to him and maybe eat at his little outdoor lounge he's got there. Definitely get the full New York experience today. Now we can take these out of here and set them down to rest for like 3 or 4 minutes before I take it out there to him. There we go. Vanlife steaks. Alrighty, I think these should be good to go. Got a knife and a fork for him, and a knife and a fork for me. So let's eat. Bring him his first. How's it going?
Whoa.
That one's for you. I'm gonna go grab mine.
Thank you.
Yeah. How's the steak? Good?
Yeah, good. Very good.
I'll let you get back to it. It was nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you. Very thank you.
Appreciate it, yeah. Thanks for giving me a tour. Appreciate it. Have a good night. He was a super nice guy. He has kids back in Turkey. He's working over here, saving money and sending money back to them for school. So doing what he has to do to make it work. I can appreciate the hustle, but it has been an incredibly long day. Walking around, checking out the city. It was definitely really cool to meet him, check out his house he built, and see kind of every side of New York all at once today. So that was pretty cool, but I am dead tired, so I'm probably just going to hang out in the van for the rest of the night and then hit the hay. So I will check in with you guys when we wake up in the morning. Good morning. Got a pretty good night's sleep, other than Early this morning, it sounded like it kind of sounded like there was construction going on somewhere back here. Just really loud banging, but I have no idea. There we go. Another night of successful stealth camping here on the East Coast. I have got to get my bed made for one final time on this road trip because this morning we are driving 5 hours back down south to my parents' house and to hang out with my girlfriend for a few days after 14 days up in the Northeast. And yes, I have an absolute mountain of dishes I'm gonna do, but gonna save those for my parents' dishwasher. I have washed enough dishes over the last 14 days. I do not feel like doing those. So those are definitely getting taken into my parents' house whenever I get home. I think our neighbor has gone off to work. His bike's not here anymore. I'll go say goodbye to him. But it is pretty crazy how good of a view of the New York skyline we have. See Billionaires Row down there. New York City is such a crazy city. The guy behind me parked pretty close. So it's gonna take a little maneuvering to get out of this spot. Sadly, this is where my New England road trip has to end. It really has been a great trip. The Northeast is so much more exciting than I thought it was gonna be, so that was nice. And also, clam chowder. So good. But with that being said, I do want to get out of here right in the mid-morning, right after that rush hour traffic has ended, so I don't have to deal with it on my drive out of New York City. And I'm currently out of dishes that I can use to cook with, so I'm not cleaning one out or cooking breakfast in the van today. I'm just gonna pick something up on my way home. And yeah, we are leaving our final spot in Van Alley. So, as always, I truly appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already, think about clicking that subscribe button. It really does help out the channel. And also, if you guys have any other places that you want me to go see, check out, cool things I should do, let me know down in the comments, send me an email, send me a direct message. If you got a small business, I do want to start doing sponsored posts for small businesses at absolutely no charge. So just send me an email, pitch me your business, and then maybe we can work something out. If you got a business, send me an email, send me a DM, maybe we can work something out. But that is it for this video, and I will catch you guys next time.